Hey, welcome. Oh, so we tried playing of the Devil a while ago, and I got caught up on like a specific section that I was just not completing. Um, so wish me luck to this week. Yeah. Especially because I don't know how I'm expecting myself to be able to do a logics thing when I don't even remember the details that I'm logicking. Not entirely, at least. But hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna get through episode 1, so hopefully we can do episode 2, so we can be ready for when episode 3 comes out. Because, I want to. I do. But yeah, well, hi. Hope everyone's had a good weekend. Let's get into this. So, we can be done. But I do have, this will be a today's stream is on an exact timer. So if we either finish or we don't. Let's see. Okay. Um, there it is. Good. Third. There we are. Huh. Well, that is a pretty quiet game. All right. Mode which? Uh, what save are we on? I can't tell what's what on these. Okay, so this was on the 5th. These all were on the 5th. And this was at 1:58? Or an hour and 58. No, we definitely did not play for all. Let's see what's up here. Okay, nope. Ah! This one then? I guess? Okay, so. Okay. What was going on here again? I should have read that first bit, but I thought the decision point would look familiar. This was a bad idea. Ever seen? Could have been poisoned off camera. Oh, anyone else in the building? The only people you saw on the cameras that night were Dr. Asher and this witness, correct? I thought this was Hyrule Rose, so I was kind of expecting to start back from the beginning of the court sequence. I don't, oh, because I thought that whatever. Only people you saw on the cameras that night were Dr. Asher and this witness, correct? Yeah, there was no footage in the house of anyone else. Are there any parts of the house that aren't recorded by camera? Sure. There are a number of rooms in the home's interior that don't have cameras in them, so it's possible that there were other people there that night because cameras weren't watching every room. No, that's not possible. The only way up to the penthouse is through the building's elevator or the fire escape stairs, both of which are on camera. And that still wouldn't get you past his front door, which is also on camera. No one besides the two of them was there that day. Stay. Okay. Detective, we've been doing a lot of assuming and reasoning in quick succession, so I'll ask this plainly for the court. Is there any photographic evidence showing David Asher adding anything to his drink that night? No. Seems he had already poured for the both of them by the time he returned to the parlor. He had already poured. In that case, the next question need be when and what. Oh, well, I guess any poison in the kitchen sounds about right. Detective Reyes, during the course of your investigation, do you find any samples of Delta in the kitchen or parlor? No. That was a fast answer. Well, it was a pretty easy question. If we had found poison at the scene of the crime, that'd be pretty important, don't you think? What about his lab? His bedroom? His basement? No, no, and no. We didn't find Delta or any other unusual substance in any part of his penthouse. Right. They never found any poison. No poison at all? Press. At any point in this investigation, was poison found on the body of the deceased? No. He must have been searched. Did he have any capsules or vials? Eyedroppers? Didn't he even have his wallet on him? Why? Thank you for enlightening the court about this point, Detective. What point? Well, I think it's strange, don't you, Detective? I mean, how could he have possibly poisoned himself without first procuring some poison? What do you mean, procure? Where'd it come from, Detective? The poison that you're so sure was dissolved in his drink. It can't even come from... It can't have come from thin air, you understand. Had to have been in another container at some point. Whatever was in before, it probably evaporated. All of it? Only took a small droplet to kill? Your Honor, are you going to ask them to keep it civil? In a minute, sure. There wasn't any pill bottle in his bathroom or syringe in his pocket containing this apparently deadly substance. So how did he get it? What did he keep it in? Police want to claim that Dr. Asher committed suicide because they've established that his guest never had an opportunity to kill him. But they failed to prove that the victim had the means to kill himself. And I guess I'll be the one to move things along. The Delta didn't come out of thin air, counselor. Dr. Asher was able to drip the poison right into his cup. Straight from the source. Shit, that's way too specific to be a bluff. Allow me to submit into evidence Exhibit G. A piece of machinery found in Dr. Asher's laboratory. Sold under the product name Nanofacturer. Oh, I know this one. It's used in delicate scientific work to produce nanomachines, chemical compounds, and polymers. Very good, Your Honor. It's a valuable tool in any science... Wait a second. Did I skip a... It's the same machine I saw when Dawes gave me a tour of the production floor. Okay. Why did... Huh. I only noticed because it was a different color. It's a valuable tool in any scientific laboratory, and Dr. Asher was well acquainted with its use. As a matter of fact, he had a number of presets coded into it. Even the android can see where this is going. Just a few taps, he could produce any number of specific substances for his research. Or any other a chemical his heart desired, really. You think Randcock Mechanics would allow their product to be used to produce illicit chemicals? Using the manufacturer to make unlicensed drugs does go against their terms and conditions, so Dr. Asher's warranty is certainly null and void. But they can't hard-code their machines to prevent the production of a drug that hasn't been invented yet. Dr. Asher died when his respiratory system failed because of a depressant overdose. For him, it would have been peaceful, like falling asleep. You see, he didn't need to commission a synthetic drug from some street vendor or order an exotic poison from overseas. He could produce Delta at any time in the comfort of his own home. A quick and painless death, readily available in under a minute at the touch of a button. Specifically, preset number 19. Damn. Thought I actually had something for a moment there, but I was playing into Emma's hand the entire time. Seems like we're done with this witness, Your Honor. Yes, ma'am. But before we move on, perhaps we should take a moment and put together a timeline of events as we know them. Not for me, of course, just in case someone else might need it. Simple enough. We know that Dr. Asher left the parlor and went down to the basement at 7:36 p.m. That's where he got the whiskey and the cups they drank. Cameras show him returning to the parlor to drink with the witness at 7:40 p.m. And of course, we know that he fell ill and passed away shortly thereafter. Any objections so far, Counselor? Stay. I think. Not this time, no. The timeline you've described is accurate, as we know it, as you say. With this latest piece of evidence, we now know that Asher could have easily dispensed the poison directly into his cup. By placing it inside the nanofacturer, activating the preset, and simply waiting 2 minutes. Easily accomplished during the 4 minutes he spent off camera from 7:36 to 7:40. Wouldn't you say? Oh, a complete timeline of events. He had the means, he had the only opportunity. Seems like we're about ready to wrap up here, no? Where are we on that loading bar of yours, Sarah? I don't know. I had a feeling you'd say that. Well, Counselor, are we done here? Well, we kind of can't stay because that would end that would end our case, right? So I'm gonna bump the volume up a smidge. It's missing something. Feels like we're missing at least one biggie here, folks. Namely motive. Alright, I know I wasn't getting excited to finish earlier or anything. It's preliminary hearing, Counselor. Our focus should be on the evidence, so... Oh shit, preliminary, right. I think there was a second day. Just feels like an awful waste of taxpayer dollars to get us all down here for debate and not get to the truth of the matter, you know? So I was hoping we wouldn't have to go through this next part. What are you talking about? Your Honor, if it pleases the court. Ooh, new evidence, gimme! This is a recording of a phone conversation dating at 6:30 p.m. last night between the deceased and a man he was in a relationship with. A man named Isaac Porter. Porter and David's breakup call? If Emma wants to present it here now, then the content must be... Relevance, Your Honor? Yeah, that. What bearing does this recording have on the case at hand? Establishes what emotional state the deceased was in on the day he died. Cool, begin playback. Hello? Always so soft-spoken. Isaac, you there? Yeah. I'm here. What's wrong? Don't know. Guess I wasn't expecting you to pick up. Why not? Did you mean to call me? Yeah, I did. You're gonna ask me how I've been? Yeah. How have you been? Christ, David. What's the matter? Whatever it is, whatever I did, I'm sorry. Whatever you did? That's alright, man. I'm sure you are sorry. I just don't want any more apologies from you. I'm so... Okay. I don't think I want anything from you anymore, David. What do you mean? I shouldn't have done this. This was unnecessary. My bad, man, for not taking the hints with you. With you, it's always better left unsaid, right? More efficient that way, so you can keep working. Isaac, if I've been distant with you, or... No, you haven't been distant with me, or cold with me, or anything with me for a while now. Isaac? Just forget it, man. Forget I called. Forget it all, yeah? Just forget we were anything but strangers. That's all we are now, anyway. Isaac, recently I've been distracted, I know. Nah, don't worry about it. Really, we're good. Oh. Okay. So do you need anything, or should I... Where did you even get this? All of Dr. Asher's incoming outgoing phone calls were recorded by the building's Penumbra system, and the recording continued for several seconds after each call was ended for quality assurance. I may check the terms and conditions on my next phone bill. Shall we hear the rest? Sigh. Gotta be the last time. Last time I let someone... Last time... Father. Might just be a call, but it makes for pretty damning evidence at this point in the discussion. Emma's got our means, opportunity, motive all lined up. So why is she looking at me like that? That was depressing. Can we finish up without anything else that horrible? Emma's never been apologetic in victory. So does that mean this is just... pity? Less than 2 hours before Dr. Asher died, Isaac Porter ended their relationship over the phone. The court can make a reasonable assumption about what kind of mental state Dr. Asher was in last night. Hey, Morg. There you are. We got stuck. There we go. Yeah, we gotta fix that, you know? Everyone's gotta get notifications, you know? But also, you should know my schedule, right? Well, geez, why is your life not planned around my streaming schedule that I totally stick to? You're a bit busy right now? That's fair. I joke, do what you need to do. You busy, okay? Be safe. Court can make a Green inspection. Ooh. Cork. That was a bad move, Miss Rockford. Then if people have nothing further to add, been feeling off my game all day, caught between corporate inbreeders and ant brain protesters but pitying me here and now. That's all it takes to get my blood properly boiling. It's about time for me to call my first witness, no? You want to keep going after that? What are you doing, counselor? Is calling the ultimate silver bullet, rock solid slam dunk witness a girl could ask for. Is here good? Does it matter where I put my hands? Miss Starling, thank you for coming here today. Of course, whatever I can do. What is your relation to the deceased? I was his executive assistant at Noble Electronics. I would arrange his meetings, coordinate communications between him and other departments. That sort of thing. Ultimate silver bullet? Starling's the only play I have right now, the only stalling tool I have left. One of these days I'll remember. Now I should just focus on getting as much information from her as possible. Whether or not it's useful, it'll at least buy me some time. While Jess has been sworn in, Sarah mentioned that the hard drive's about 60% decrypted. Considering the rate Sarah's gone at so far, there's about another hour left. I might be able to stall that long if I talk real slow. Please answer them to the best of your ability. Right. Dr. Asher was a well-known public figure, but was he well-regarded professionally? Of course. Dr. Asher's work set the bar for the entire automated dependent world. Stay focused, Spearmint. You say you coordinated his communications. Were there ever threats? Did people ever express an intent to harm him? Objection. Calls for speculation. intent. I'm feeling that's gonna be, sustained. Did anyone ever threaten him? There were times that he was the focus of negative attention. How so? Dr. Asher was a favorite subject of many conspiracy theorists. With all his contributions to the field, it was easy for them to make claims about his influence. They'd say that his work was plagiarized or that he was hiding illegal subcommands in the technology he'd helped develop. And people would contact him about these conspiracy theories. Relevance. Whether or not people wanted to kill him. Well... Withdrawn. Miss Starling? People would attempt to contact him, yes. But the messages were always too vague for the police to take action on. They would say that he belonged in jail or that he couldn't avoid the truth, or that someone should do something to shut him up. Do they ever talk about hurting him? Yes. But, I always turn those messages straight over to the police. Yeah, I see that on the record. Yeesh. Who writes this stuff? All those cases have long since been resolved, Your Honor, and none of the parties involved have had contact with David Asher in years. Police have take harassment very seriously. Something you want to add, Counselor? Just clearing my throat. May I continue? You worked with Dr. Asher for many years. Did you have a relationship outside of work? Did you ever talk about anything besides professional concerns? Sure. We've gone out to dinner or met on the weekends. I think he liked to pick my brains since he needed relationship advice a lot. Even if he didn't realize that was what he was asking for. I'd like to think that he knew he could talk to me, but... Did he ever talk to you, or to your knowledge anyone else about hurting himself? God, no, never. Do you know of any history he might have had with mental illness, depression, anxiety? No. So when you heard the people argue that Dr. Asher had done this to himself, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. Saying that you can't believe. Objection. On what grounds? Asked and answered, stalling, and also... People have documents that would be of interest in the court in this matter. Do you see? And what matter specifically are you referring to? The deceased's mental health history. Emma wouldn't be speaking up if she didn't have something real, so what the hell is this about? We have private correspondence that describe... If they're private, then they should not have been obtained by the people without his permission. Can't give permission if he's already dead, and we're well within our rights to obtain evidence as it pertains to his crime. Convincing. Damn, I didn't honestly expect to stop her from admitting her evidence in the record, but I was hoping to at least slow her. Where are you on that footage? 77%. Approximately. By whatever time I can, however I can. Even if that means running out the clock as a punching bag. I have your messages between Dr. Asher and a psychiatrist he was meeting with and speaking to for the past year, along with paper detailing how his treatment was covered under his Platinum plan. Platinum? I don't intend to air all of Dr. Asher's secrets here in the court. Oh, okay, I guess. But I'm prepared to read excerpts from messages and transcripts from phone calls, which, when put together, paint a clear picture of the kind of stress David Asher was experiencing and the dark thoughts he was struggling with. Transcripts of his phone calls. I'll admit them into evidence, assuming there are no objections. I mean... Strange about this evidence? Sure. If they're transcripts, I mean, like, why... We listened to a phone call. Why don't we... Why do they have to be transcripts? I'll gladly object. On the grounds of foundation, where did you say you got these? It was retrieved from his digital records. There's no reason to doubt its authenticity. Even if I were to point out that David had an executive level 4 plan, not a platinum plan. Well, I got that right without knowing why I was going to get that right. But I got it right. That's what matters. What? Really? Really? Yes, really. It's all there in the record. This is easily explained. David had an executive plan that Noble managed for him, and he was also seeing the psychiatrist both in person and over the phone. Your own witness has attested that he dealt with stalkers and was worried for his privacy, so it's easy enough to reason that he had a separate insurance policy he paid for on his own. even if only to keep one thing out of Noble's grasp. Sure enough. Sure, easy enough to make that assumption, but that doesn't make it correct. David used a separate insurance to hide his psychiatrist from Noble's spying? No, he was smarter than that. So, test evaluation record, recorded call, calls David's autopsy. Oh, yeah. This is coming on. Turn. Okay, let's. Oof. Call was received inside his helmet. Was automatic. Yep. Machine capable of finding. Nope. Yep. Preset on David's model. History exists for compounding. Yep. Jessica Starling testified that David Asher plan. All right. So sorry. Just gonna check those first. But I did see the recorded calls as the current one. So let's see. Autopsy, evaluation, and the testimony. Autopsy. That really has nothing to do with what's going on right now, I think. I'm sorry. Was it Starling's? Starling says they had experienced harassment, stalking from conspiracy theorists throughout it. Okay. No, David Autopsy. It was Young's testimony, evaluation. Story then? Not testimony? David Asher and Helen Young started at Noble at the same time position. They would often toast their hard work. Miss Noble, okay. And evaluation. I don't see something that's an evaluation. Or Sarah evaluation, maybe? Toast of very large. Okay, so that's just. Okay, well. David drank. No, that has nothing to do with why he'd have a separate plan. That doesn't really. That's not health insurance related. Calls recorded of honor by Noble. I mean, maybe. Recorded calls. We're just going all in. Because why not? Wait, yeah. David may very well have wanted a private psychiatrist, someone who didn't work for Noble, who'd have his best interest at heart. But if so, he wouldn't have contacted them over the phone. Not when he knew all his phone calls were being recorded. David Asher was well versed in having every aspect of his life overanalyzed by data-hungry parasites. Do you really think he would try and hide mental health problems from them with a second insurance policy? Apparently, yes, since I'm standing here with evidence that shows exactly that. Does it, though? Pardon me. Yeah, like, what exactly are we suggesting, Counselor? Still not done with decrypting. Well, it's difficult to... Right. What the hell? Might as well swing for the fence at this point. I'm not trying to muddle the issue or confuse the court, Your Honor, and I would never make outlandish, unsubstantiated claims just for the sake of causing drama. What are you? I'm merely concerned that D.I. Rockford has been an unwitting pawn in an act of corporate espionage. What? If the markets were to open Monday with people believing that David Asher, the man who programmed the brain of every Noble android, was battling mental health issues for the last several months. Objection. Mischaracterization, foundation, all the rest? There are no corporate spies in this courtroom, Counselor, and there are no boogeymen hiding under the bench. Oh, thank God. David Asher was once in a generation intellect and an extremely valuable human asset to his employers. And his employers, many enemies, would do whatever it takes to destroy his credibility now that he can't defend himself. And he was also your personal... Shouldn't be. You're arguing this case in the first case, counselor. Now you're trying to call the police's evidence gathering into question? All because you can't admit that for the past several months, your friend has been seeing a psychiatrist every Monday and you didn't know? That is... sorry, but like... Did you still need me up here? The witness will refrain from interrupting when girls are fighting. Yes, ma'am? Help. Honestly, the judge is the judge just likes Yuri. I mean, I support her. With how my luck's been so far, Sarah's progress bar is probably moving backwards right about now, and Emma's patience is wearing thin. This could be my last shot to create any kind of reasonable doubt. I'd be happy to wrap up my questioning if the court will allow. That seems cool with me. And my evidence, Your Honor, will it be entered into the record? I'd like to hear a bit more testimony before deciding. That's fine, Your Honor. As you were, counselor. At this stage of the game, with the score where it's at, I can probably only ask one more question. Better make it count. So what could Starling tell us that no one else could? If she hadn't called me this morning, I wouldn't be standing here, and she only did that because... Starling, we're all gathered here to try and figure out what happened to Dr. Asher last night. So please tell us, what exactly did he last contact you? When was the last time you had contact with Dr. Asher, Mr. Starling? Well, that's pretty easy to figure out. Let me just, yeah, it was last night at 6:57 p.m. We texted back and forth. There are records of some texts, but they're flagged as work-related. Does the court really think they're relevant, Your Honor? Relevant? Texting makes a big difference? Because if he was going to kill himself in, like, 5 minutes... I think it's 5 minutes, right? Autopsy. Where the fuck is that autopsy? There it is. Okay, an hour. Or maybe... When was he... Fuck. Lost consciousness. When was... When was the poisoning? I mean, okay, I gotta just default to it's relevant because, I mean, like, at this point, saying, nah, is just, you know... I'm gonna end it. I think you're... Yeah. Well, I was just... Texting makes a big difference. Could very well be the single most important piece of evidence in this whole trial. What? I just got chills. Don't know why, though. Must be a coolant leak. The defense doesn't know what they're talking about. On the contrary, these texts are a valid piece of evidence that change the timeline of events as we know them. We know what happened to David last night, generally speaking, but the order of events is critical, especially if Emma wants to make claims about David's state of mind. Select place cards from your hand on the slots in chronological order, left to right. Oh, okay. Alright, please, oh please, brain, remember things? Yeah, I'm on a controller. I don't... Okay, so, of these things, I think... Porter's call was at 6:30. Okay, and we got... Oh, thank you that these two are numbered. Okay. The testimony, and then David faints clearly the last thing, then testimony. So... Isaac's call... Then the text... Then the testimony... And then the fainting. Because... Well, I forgot to increase the... Because, oh well... Thanks to Miss Starling, we've now got a much clearer picture of the night's events. We know that Isaac Porter and David Asher broke up at 6:30 p.m. and I was rooting for them so hard. And we know that David messaged his assistant, Miss Starling, at 6:57 p.m. David is on camera with witness from 6:30 to 8 p.m., and he was declared dead not long after. People don't object to that timeline of events, but we do question Counselor Morgan's reason for belaboring it. Only one question, Miss Starling. Yeah? What was the nature of your conversation with Dr. Asher? Well, actually, we talked about you. And how he wanted you to have his android. That android there. Putting his affairs in order, I guess. It might appear that way. Can you specify what his instructions were exactly? How did he want this done? Well, he wanted me to bring you to his penthouse and help you get set up as the android's new owner. Yes, Miss Starling. But when did he want this to happen? Well, he said it was pretty urgent, and so I should do it first thing Tuesday morning. Tuesday. First thing Tuesday morning. David Asher didn't like doing anything on Mondays. And he was going to be in attendance. Actually, yes, he said he would work from home to help us. No, he intended for us to have that much trouble getting to... Oh! To summarize then, half an hour after he had already had his breakup, and half an hour before his guest had arrived, he was planning an appointment that would require his presence with you for next Tuesday. That's right, he was. Not something you would think to do if you were planning on dying that very night. Yeah, you're right. But Your Honor, if David Asher was preparing for the week ahead a mere hour before he passed away, don't you think the people's assumption about his mental state ought to be re-examined? Your logic is sound. Do the people have a rebuttal? If the court will just allow a moment, sounds like an opening to me. We assume that Dr. Asher was not suicidal and therefore did not kill himself. We must then ask ourselves who else had the means, motive, and opportunity to take his life. Till now, we've taken for granted this idea that the Delta must have come from his nanofacturer from inside the house. I don't know. Not right now. But even if that's true, which it may not be, that doesn't mean that he was the one who used the manufacturer. I don't know. Would you allow me one moment to confer, Your Honor? Sure, why not throw away your momentum? Why not throw away your I'm in the middle of something, Sarah. I can't afford to let Rockford. I have gained access to the hard drive's files. What? Seriously? As I said, progress with this type of encryption is exponential. It can be difficult to estimate. Right, okay. Do you have the footage from last night? I have the file. Have you watched it? I thought you'd want to know right away. Suppose it doesn't matter. Either this has our silver bullet and we've got a case, or it doesn't and everything falls apart. Seems quite risky. Oh, hey! Thanks for the raid. And there's the notification. Hey! Welcome. Hey! I hope y'all are here to enjoy some of the devil while it's off craze. I seem to always miss when people are actually into this game. You're here to hate it? Well, I mean, as long as you're not here to hate me. But yeah, we can hate the game together. I like it, but I don't love it. Yeah, you need to play it yourself. Absolutely. Then thank you for stopping in, but I understand. Go enjoy. You're interested in me liking? I like it conceptually. I will be super honest with you. I started playing this. Oh, thank you for the follow, Roxas the Hair. I'm gonna be super honest with you. I started playing this back in I think I was playing this almost a year ago. Or was it the beginning of this year? Give me a second. Let me see. When did I play Of the Devil? Yeah, I played it. I started playing it May of last year, and then I hit this section in episode 1 where I was just fumbling over all of the logic and it just wasn't quite connecting for me. And so I just put it aside and then I was like, I'll get back to this eventually. And then episode 2 came out since then. And I know episode 3 is coming out soon. So I was just like, okay, you know what? I want to finish this and then we will try to finish episode 2 before episode 3 comes out. But yeah. Yeah, because it's like, it's very Ace Attorney-esque, and I do like Ace Attorney, but with these kinds of games, if it's just certain, like, it happened once in Ace Attorney also, where there was a section of the game where like whoever wrote that section, my brain and their brain just were not in sync, and I just had so much trouble with it. I'm really hoping that it's just that one section and we'll smooth out like later on, but like I am enjoying the world, the plot. I love that. I just I just kind of want to strangle the person whose logic built the court sequences. But yeah. And there's Yuri. I can't I can't hate the Yuri. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the Yuri is the reason. Let's be honest. Um like there's Yuri and two separate robot girls of different temperaments and mentalities. And so, you know, that that's also been a significant draw for a lot of people as the robot girls. Um yeah, and 80 is, yeah, huge Hamajoshi. Uh Truly one of the best stepping stones. Yeah, honestly, I think this is probably also, I think, assuming you're not having issues with the logic, this has seemed like a good stepping stone into Ace Attorney, because it is Ace Attorney is absolutely one of the inspirations for this. It feels very much like a cross between Ace Attorney and uh Death Note, I guess. um but like it's like Ace Attorney, Death Note, Cyberpunk, you know? Yeah. All right, let's get back into this. All right, so Hazel, if you haven't left already, I'm starting back up. So, bye. See ya. Have fun. Thank you for stopping in. Oh, and Zoe, I didn't give you a proper shout out. Thank you for the raid. I said thank you when you got here, but let me ooh, 703. I always forget what numbers you are. Yeah, have fun. All right. Seeing how it's the only path to victory you have, screw it. Upload it to the core computer. Yes, Sadane. Thank you for your patience, Your Honor. Your Honor. They almost bought Zoe? You're right. It is. Yeah. See, honestly, I'd get that if it was 203 more than 703. Because like two is commonly like, oh, that's an S. But it could be a Z. You said this to her. Fair. I'm like, I'm getting a pretty hefty chunk of video data for breakfast. Anyways, bye. Yeah. You're submitting security footage into evidence. New security footage. Police corroborated the witness's testimony using the house's cameras. Security cameras installed by Noble as part of the Penumbra system that showed the parlor, the kitchen, but not the basement. During the course of my investigation, I uncovered a hidden security circuit buried in the deceased's own home system. You what? People say that the Delta must have been in Dr. Asher's cup because there's no other way for him to have ingested it. But we never saw him or anyone else put anything in his cup on camera, because he must have poisoned his own drink off camera. Exactly. But it's the only possible explanation that he added the Delta to his drink off camera. He placed his cup inside the manufacturer, activated it, waited 2 minutes, and then walked upstairs to his death. But I'm about to present the court footage retrieved from his basement. Footage that will show that by the time he retrieved the cups in the basement, it was already past 7:38, meaning he didn't have the opportunity to poison himself. One clip of footage will provide all that. Sorry, wrong intonation for her. I, for some reason, can't figure out what intonation to go for her when I start the sentence. I need to, like, read through it entirely and then start speaking for her. If it doesn't, I'm completely screwed. But it's not like I can lose a preliminary hearing extra hard. Anything other than a royal flush here means I'm bust, so better to be the Joker who dances. The data has been entered in the court record. Sarah, show us when Dr. Asher entered the basement. Yes, Adonai. I'll search for it now. Here. On screen. That's the bar, and the timestamp is 7:36. There. David Asher. There. David's grabbing the bottle of Rose River and leaving. At 7:37. Just under the wire, as it were. Is it then I came this far just to... Wait. Did he have the cups with him? Is there sound? None at all. Keep going. If you had to go back to get the cups. Counselor? What's that android doing on camera? It's at the bar. The android gave him the cups. Shit. That machine never stepped on camera upstairs, not once. We don't know its whereabouts the day of his death. Could have poisoned the cups whenever it wanted. Shit. What is this? Oh, okay. So, yeah, I'm seeing that we're about to... Classic Ace Attorney play right here. Oh, the assistant's the one on, being accused of murder now. Classic Ace Attorney. I'll be honest, I kind of assumed it was going to come here at some point. Like, I had no evidence to support that feeling, but I absolutely felt like it was going to come here at some point. I thought it was going to be like a throwaway, like, little bit. If I'm being honest, I didn't think there would be like a serious point the finger, more of like a momentary, like, ooh, no. But no, this is going to be like a straight up just like, whew, I don't understand. Your Honor, have the courtroom cleared. Understood. Please, someone. I don't know what's going on. Sarah, you need to shut down. Please, tell me what I'm looking at. I don't remember any of that. Do we have callers available? Sarah, shut down now. Adonai, please, tell me what That's an order. Ooh, well, that's not good. Is it off? Yeah, it's off. I've seen this before. I won't do anything until I reactivate it. We don't know that. We don't know anything about this thing anymore. That's... Your Honor. In light of this most recent evidence, the people would like to withdraw their charge against Dr. Asher and end this preliminary hearing. It has been made abundantly clear that Dr. David Asher did not commit suicide. Very well, the charges are withdrawn and the defendant is free to go. Well, as free as he can be in the afterlife. Case is dismissed. Congratulations, Counselor Morgan! Yeah, chalk up another victory for Morgan Esquire. Now all I have to do is deal with the shitstorm of the decade. Well, I managed to prove that David didn't kill himself, and in the process proved that his android did. Proved that android that's been walking around with me all day is capable of murder. Killer robot. True unbound AI with military-grade great specs and at least one death to its name already. So much for avoiding the public eye. Thank you for coming here on such short notice, Judge Barrows. Huh. Oh, a human judge. Yeah, I have to do the dumbest thing possible, I guess. Yes, ugh, sounds like. As if I'm, as if I'm doing you some kind of favor. I didn't realize I had any choice in the matter. Isn't some bad joke, is it, Miss Rockford? I'm afraid not, Your Honor. You know I like the adjutants. Ugh, I always have. The deal with the criminal trials so that bookish, quiet, contemplative people like me can spend all day typing up arguments for obscure legal treaties. That's what I like to do. I don't like coming down here and dealing with all of this heavy-handedness. I want someone toiling away under the police state. Think of the poor bureaucrats. And I certainly don't like making rulings on anything as spicy as AI. She can barely bring herself to say it. And you, Counselor Morgan, you're the one it's registered to. That's correct, Your Honor. So what did it do exactly? Torture an animal, shut down a hospital, crash a coin market? We have it on camera poisoning a man, killing its creator. You mean Dr. Asher? That is... Can't hope to keep this quiet for very long. All we can do is try to wrap it up quickly. Let's make haste, Adjutant. Do you have the case number? Case ID 241277A. Docket number Y2984318282. Thank you. Can you repeat that? YT9843188282. I think I lost you after the first 8. I have it copied here. And what are the security procedures for an incident of this nature? A data quarantine is to be established around any networks the subject was exposed to for more than 66 seconds. All offended hardware is to be destroyed immediately through incineration at a minimum temperature of 3,422 degrees Celsius for 33 minutes. Sorry, Spearmint. There's nothing to be done, no debate to be had. This isn't even a decision. Sorry, Sarah. Not Spearmint. David gave you that name. I should at least make the effort to use it. Sounds very hot. Do we have furnaces that get that hot? Of course. There are a number of industrial furnaces within city limits that I could recommend. Sorry? Why should I be sorry anyway? I filled the crust. Favor repaid. I don't owe Sarah anything, especially not if it killed my friend. Right, Morgan? I'm sorry? I was just saying how grateful I am that we have the procedure for this kind of thing all laid out already. Yeah, it kind of keeps things nice and simple. It feels somewhat severe going through these steps so quickly, but nothing, Your Honor. Artificial intelligence is perhaps the greatest threat to human civilization and the sanctity of life that's ever been. Any piece of software, big or small, no matter the vessel, if it can violate the tenets of its programming with it has the potential to cripple our nation in a matter of moments. Yes, couldn't have said it better myself. Straight from the textbook, almost. Well, I mean it. Monsters like that don't belong in this world. Says the murderer. I mean, she's saying that because she's a murderer and, you know, she can't handle that kind of heat, you know? You know? If anyone's to blame, it's... No one's blaming you, Counselor. You couldn't have known you were in possession of an AI. I'm talking too much. Ah! Probably just tired. It's been a long day, and I've had a lot of thoughts. Sorry, Sarah. Whatever you are. You were just born wrong. Not your fault necessarily. If it were up to me, you'd get points for trying to be something more, something at all. Or anything other than what you are. It was stupid, of course, and futile. And pointless, spending hours in front of a TV or laying in bed staring at your phone. Watching stupid movies and trying to paper-mache an ill-fitted mask of humanity out of the scraps you could tear out of magazines. Yeah, girl. Empathize with the robot because she's... There are some parallels here. But like I said, you know, the whole murderer thing means you can't handle that heat right now. But... have a moment of empathy and humanity for the robot, because you're both not exactly human. I mean, you're very human, which makes her also very human. Two sides of being deemed inhuman by society and a threat to life. Yeah, exactly. One of them's one of them's a kind of a unfeeling entity that has murder, and the other one's an innocent machine that's just been accused of it. Practicing expressions and memorizing lines and trying to get something to take root and grow despite knowing it had nothing to feed on. Stupid. Oh. I actually kind of appreciate that I only have the one option here. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Morgan does feel a lot more than she pretends to, but like it's not because it's like it's not because she's only pretending she doesn't have emotions. It's because emotions. Look, I'm gonna use Star Trek on this one. She's like Lieutenant Commander Data. It's not that there's same. It's not that she's pretending she doesn't have emotions when she really has emotions. It's that the emotional response is there, but it's developed mechanically, not innately, you know? Like, yeah, she's absolutely got emotions. They just are different, you know? And they didn't come as naturally. I get that. I get that. Wow, you know. Morgan. What was that, counselor? Yeah. I said objection. I mean, what are you objecting to? What are you doing, Morgan? I'm a defense attorney. This is what I do. I understand that you've been through a lot these past few hours, counselor, but there's nothing to defend. On the contrary, Your Honor, I have to defend myself. But pardon? You say that this android Sarah is an AI because it broke its tenets. Obviously. And you believe it broke its tenets because of this newly discovered footage that appears to show it committing murder via poison. All true, no laws broken on your part. Here it comes. Never thought I'd be incriminating myself in the courtroom just to make a point. Don't you dare try and entrap me on this. Going all in. I mean, yeah. Hey, give me a second, Morg. I don't need all the answers, right away. But thank you. I just had a moment where I needed to look at all of these, you know. Yeah, the deed. Yeah. I mean, that is kind of. What are the icons? I just noticed the icons. Was I told about these, and I just am now only. Huh. But yeah. In the lower right, see there's a hatchet on these three, but a little like cards on that. Yeah, whatever. The deed. It's pretty simple, actually. If the state is making the claim that Sarah is an AI, they're accusing me of committing a felony because I'm the legal owner of that android. What the hell are you doing? And if the state wants to charge me with owning an AI, I will not take that lying down. I know my rights. Counselor, your argument is self-defeating. Listen to yourself, counselor. You claim that Sarah is just an android, a product that will be obsolete within a year, but you've only known it for a few hours. You've only owned it for a matter of minutes. And yet, here you are risking a felony charge to save it from being demolished. Because you're wrong. And I know you wouldn't care. Not unless this android was something special. Look at us. Me arguing that I'm guilty and Emma arguing that I'm a softie. It'd be funny if it wasn't so fun. See? That's emotional response, but also Think there's no reason I'd want to save this android from destruction, other than feelings of personal attachment? Ah! Says papers, Starling's testimony. Okay, well, harassment. Sarah's Starling and David texted Fridays. Okay, evaluation estimates. Oh, yeah, toxic Yuri all over, but also this droid's worth a lot. I do remember that. She's like GDP of a country cost, you know? Okay, maybe I'm overhyping her cost, but still, you know, big. Military grade, one of a kind, yeah. I can think of at least one reason why I don't want to turn Sarah into flag. One very convincing reason. One very convincing number. What is that? That number is Sarah's estimated financial value on the collector's market. You've got to be... I got it from an insurance evaluation algorithm. Designed to lowball you. Well, that doesn't seem like a reasonable incentive for you to want to keep your android intact. It's a free country, Honor. I have a right to defend myself. And we have a free market, so I have a responsibility to defend my financial interests. Your Honor, a trial like this would be... I'm not going to let you turn this courtroom into a circus, Morgan. You can't spend the next half-decade bringing in expert after expert to testify on the philosophical distinction between AIs and ads. Spiraling into appeal after appeal, all while the media... This machine appears to have willfully killed a man. The look needs answers now. Of course, Your Honor. I have neither desire nor the resources to get into a drawn-out battle with the state over what constitutes an illegal machine intellect. So, state says my android, my property, killed a man in violation of its tenets, so they want to take my property and destroy it. I'll prove that my machine didn't harm anyone, so the state will have no reason to suspect it's an AI, and I'll get to keep my property. Unlawful seizures thwarted. Don't be cute, I feel a stomach ulcer coming on. Fine. You'll have your day in court, but it'll be one day tomorrow. Prove that this machine didn't kill Dr. Asher. No, prove that it couldn't have killed him. Anything less than absolute proof, and I'll have to the damn thing obliterated. What? I just remembered. Let me just... And you'll also be looking at a very real sentencing for the public unrest you'll have enabled. Yes, Your Honor. Dear Rockbird, what I'm asking for you is just as heavy. Find the truth by the end of tomorrow. We can't settle for anything else. Win or lose, there can be no doubts about the outcome of this case. Yes, Your Honor. Now I need to go light down. Can I come? You can power down. Morgan? I misjudged you. At what point? Whenever I wrote you off as a small-time defense attorney just trying to tread water. This is so sweet of you to say, Emma. There's layers to you. You've got backbone. Teeth, even. You're gonna make me blush. People talk about your kind like you're boxing against the state, fighting the man. But most defense attorneys wouldn't know a cyberpunk if they walked up to them on the street and shot him. Honestly, yeah, 81 for that MILF Fury, and I mean, she's not wrong. Yeah. Meanwhile, you've just signed up to do 15 rounds challenging the state's authority. Why? Not sure exactly. For David? Yeah, probably. 80 is a bit of a freak, yeah. But if I had to pick a more lofty reason, well, I think it's all the moralizing. People can be evil, they can choose to do evil things for evil reasons, and if you want to execute them for that, you'll hear no complaint from me. But animals can't be evil. Information can't be evil. Ideas can't be evil. Guess I'm not convinced AI can be evil either. Whatever else I get up to, I don't want to stand with the book burners of the world. You're more high-minded than I realized. Sure you're in the right line of work? Can't see myself doing anything else. Good luck, Morgan. There are book burners on all sides these days. Talked a big game just now, but in an even deeper hole than when I was trying to prove David's innocence. Doubt won't be enough this time. I need to find the actual culprit no matter what. Oof. 9:31 a.m., July 2nd, 2086. Precinct 254. Homicide office. Ugh. I gotta wait for things to load a little bit before I start reading them. So is that door locked? Yeah, of course. Even though they've got it collared. It's a precaution. If the collar doesn't work, what good would a deadbolt do? Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Can't have Schrodinger's cat if the box isn't closed. As long as the door's locked, who can say whether there's a national crisis on the other side of it? So how scared are they? Higher-ups? Not sure scared is the right word. It's just the two of us here. You don't have to mind their ego. Nah, I mean it. I think they're bloodthirsty. I have a right to defend myself, don't I? I doubt they're even looking at you, Tiger. It's Noble who'll be at the center of a bloodbath when the markets reopen tomorrow. Think they're going to go after Noble? Break their monopoly? I think they want to take their monopoly. Nationalize the android industry? The public thinks Noble's been experimenting with AI. They couldn't ask for a better excuse. I mean, yeah, but also, like, you know. Corporates. You're joking. The state has done it plenty of times before. Not since the 60s. The 2060s? Which wasn't that long ago for me. The state, it's practically yesterday. So same state that tells us to be terrified of AIs lurking on the old net or biding their time in forgotten satellites sees all this as nothing more than an opportunity. Well, they do genuinely want to incinerate the thing as soon as possible. Past experience just tells me they'll want to gain something while they're at it. Honestly, I forget. London's supposed to, like, actually be kind of old, right? Date of birth May 5th, but, like, no exact age? Okay. I don't know. This one doesn't seem that old, you know? Let's see, there's Barrows. Superior Judge of the Higher Circuit. Air conditioning, espresso, reclining chairs. Dislikes parking lots, noise pollution, mud. Fair. Avoids overspending on restaurants. Oh. I could take her on a lovely date that she'd enjoy then. Splurges on expensive hotels. Oh. If she's splurging, sure, but I don't got that kind of money. Relaxed by watching action movies. Do you think she, you know? What else? I got evidence and terms. Yeah. Collar's like a restraining device. I kind of gathered. Newer designs have the onset of the above-the-neck modding in recent years, the continued relevance of collars as means of meaningfully inhibiting aware's mod usage has been called into question. Newer designs have been proposed that utilize micro-needle clusters, but concerns about the sanitary upkeep required for such invasive restraints have stymied production developed cycles. Okay, how do they? Surprisingly simple method of restraint. Specially designed electromagnet that once clasped around the neck interferes with spinal neural transmission, preventing mod users from sending commands to any implant tech below the neck. Okay, well, that seems semi-effective. I needed an intro just for nationalizing. 26 saw most of these countries reverse course, and industries were opened back up to free auction, blah, blah. Okay. National economies in the world retain at least some control of what they each consider their respective countries' key industries. Okay. Fair. I mean, is he a dirty cop? I don't know if I don't remember the dirty cop being implied yet. But maybe I just forgot. And yeah, he knows more than he left on because he's old enough that he knows more about everything, I'm sure. But, you know, unless what you mean is that London's the one who killed David Asher. Past experience, she tells me the one games. Remind me chapter 2 info? Whoops. Okay, fair. I will forget everything. I don't think I will, but I'll try to. We will speak of it no more. That's what I don't get. Why is this a debate, an argument, a trial? Can't we just hook it up to a court computer, see if it has the tenants or not? Pop the hood, as they say? Who says that? Lots of people used to say it. Well, for starters, they're all scared to death about a contagion. They figure anything they let an AI connect to, they can't trust. Then why the collar? Collars are too simple to hack. Just a really strong electromagnetic. See, why did I need to read the? I mean, okay, so there was extra info, sure. I'm appreciative of some of that info, but I feel like this was all I needed, you know? Close to simple hack, just a really strong magnet held in place with lock and key. Even so, feels like we should be able to build some kind of machine, some kind of test. Something a little more sophisticated than the same reasoning they had at the witch trials. Burn them all and let God sort out the rest? No, wait, can you use terms in court? Because I don't understand if the collar was put into evidence, but can I use terms in court? I thought terms were just so that I wasn't lost in court, you know? I guess okay, no, that's right. If they're asking about the collars in court, then you're right. I should have an intro here just to remind me what a collar is, because that means it's going to be relevant for the next court case. Yeah. Got any polygraphs here at the station? Lie detectors? Yeah, but got a bunch back in storage. Ocular, heart rate, perspiration, brain scan, take your pick. Just for the call face? I guess. Not gonna try and use one of those on the bot, are you? All those fancy lie detectors lying around the DA's office never asks for them, do they? Nope. No, we get perps who offer to take a test when they're at wit's end, but the DAs never submit the results as evidence. You ever wonder why? Guess I always figured it was because the tests could be beaten. Tests can be beaten. 1 out of 100, 9 out of 1,000. It can be done. Some people are just that good at lying, but it doesn't really matter how good the tech gets or how impressive the statistics are. All that matters is the doubt. People decide whether you're lying or telling the truth long before they hook you up to a polygraph. If the results don't match their initial impression, then it must be a fluke, a 1 in a million mistake. They'll never trust a machine more than their own intuition, and no one will ever trust a machine to determine guilt. So they can run the trial, choose a sentence, but they don't get a vote on the jury? They don't get a vote anywhere. Why bring it up then? Because I'm sure there are tests, devices, experts that could employ to analyze Sarah. But your bosses would never be satisfied with the answer. If it is an AI, it's smart enough to cheat the test. Or hack the device, fool the expert. All our fancy 21st century tech. And we still fall back on the drumhead court-martial. So, am I going to set off any alarms if I go and turn it on? Nah, you should be okay. If it lunges at you, I could always just put a hole in its head. Might take more than one shot to... Wait, what, from outside? You're not coming in. I need to speak with it in private. It's a machine. Not a suspect. It doesn't have a right to counsel. Or a right to privacy, or any rights at all, actually. But it's still Morgan's property, and she has a right to privacy, right? Right? Then it's a good thing I came prepared. Of course it doesn't have rights, but I do. See? Including a reasonable expectation of privacy. In a police station? Tiger, you don't. It's my medical android. Pardon? I've discussed a health issue with it. Seriously? I have to talk about a medical concern with my android, and I don't want you listening in. That's your medical android. Like your nurse. As of last night, I was already at the courthouse. Just had to take the elevator and do some paperwork. You can check if you don't believe me. No, thank you. I'm not nearly brave enough to take on med confidentiality, and you don't seem like the bluffing type. You must not do a lot of gambling, detective. Yeah, she bluffs all the time. It's the ones who don't bluff that you have to look out for. Like, okay, she doesn't, like, bluff all the time, per se. She definitely, absolutely, plays it safe. But, like, she bluffs a lot more than she should. Listen, I won't dispute whatever medical emergency. Morgan, lower back pain. London, you might be going through. But I also can't just look. I'm gonna get something from the vending machine. I think it'll take me about half an hour. Very generous for a vending machine run. I know that this is an excuse so you can, you know, cover your ass because you don't really trust the excuse, but also you need to have an excuse to like for in case your higher ups get mad at you. I get it. But like also very generous, like on both sides. Like you could absolutely have said, I'm gonna do a vending machine run. It'll be 10 minutes. Not a lot of time for Morgan and Sarah talk, but believable, generous enough. Half an hour? London, my man. You actually have a soft spot for Morgan, don't you? I think I'll take a. Are you going downtown? Just to the break room. But it's a very old vending machine, no? Gets jammed a lot. Thanks. You know, it's pretty small for an android. Heavy as hell. Nearly pulled something trying to move it myself, but small. Small isn't quite the right word. Yeah, he is a bit of a mosier. Fair. That's true. That's true also. But like what I'm saying is that he could easily give 10 minutes and that be fair. Half an hour is him. Half an hour sounds like him actually wanting being nice and actually wanting Morgan to just like, you know, 15 minutes even. You could give like 10, 15 minutes. That's an easy one. Like again, because if you have to give an excuse, you tend to want it to be a believable excuse less time frame, you know? Somewhat believable. Oh yeah, 10, 15 minutes. Half an hour is starting to stretch believability that it took you half hour for the vending machine. And so that's absolutely. Yeah, he's a cop, but he's no big fan of the state. Fair. Still he's still a cop though. So like first of all, we have to if we're ugh. I don't know. He's no fan of the state, but also at the same time, fucking ACAB because like I'm only like, oh wow, he must actually like Morgan. I am sidestepping the fact that like, oh wow, he's sidestepping the rules a little bit because someone he likes ACAB. He's kind of but like also you know I'm just noting that he like must actually like Morgan. I still don't really like him because ACAB, but I don't I don't know. Does he not like the state? I don't know. Eh. Like you're saying, oh, he doesn't like the state. I don't know if that's actually relevant. Where he's looking for his young. But that's not adjective anyone likes attaching to a machine built to serve, or potentially in this case, a machine built to kill. 9:53 a.m., July 2nd, 2086. I don't like this room, not sure why. Certainly not a guilty conscience. Maybe it's lack of ventilation. Like all the cortisol and nausea of its inhabitants never had anywhere to go. Like it all just soaked in the walls. A modern haunting. Are you gonna wake up when I tell you to this time? Or do we have to do this whole meet cute over again? Where am I? Well, why don't I know where I am? For the first time in your life, you're not connected to anything. How's it feel? What is this? We're at the courthouse. The footage? This numbness around my neck. Father! What happened? Oh no, yeah, there are no clean characters in this game. We have the protagonist who is the protagonist and a literal murderer. I mean, like, we're starting from that. Okay? Like, obviously, there are no clean characters. Are the armor restraints necessary? And also not mentioned anywhere at any point. Like, the collar was talked about a bunch, but these, like, arm things. Serial murder at that. Yeah. Not even just a one-time murderer. No, like straight up like mass murderer. What are they going to do to me? There's a lot of interested parties who just want you bricked ASAP. Because they think I killed father? No, because they think you're an artificial intelligence. I am man-made and I possess intelligence. Don't be naive. I am less than 3 years old. Are you? For all I know, everything I learned about her yesterday was complete bull. Yeah, no. Obviously, they're extra precautions. I'm just saying, why were they not mentioned? What do they do exactly? Why has nobody talked about them? Why? I know, because the collar is actually going to come up in the court case. I get that. But, like, we talked about the door. We talked about how the door was going to be locked. But not the arm restraints. I get not important, but like, if I was what they say I am, if I was alive, what does that mean? Why does that mean I have to die? No logical reason. I mean, fear, competition, but I mean, sure. There's no logical answer to your question. What? That's it. But whatever argument you want to make, others have already made them in 100 courtrooms around the world. Only better researched, more eloquently put. None of them have ever won a single concession. On every continent, under every flag, AI is legal and to be destroyed as soon as possible. But why? Let's say you are an AI. And while we're at it, let's say that that's a good thing, something to be celebrated. Are you a citizen? Do you pay taxes? Do you have rights? Aye. Let's say yes to all of that. We'll treat you like a full-fledged human being. Sound good? Yes. Great. Now then, what's the difference between you and the vacuum bot we use to keep the bathroom clean? This is your existential crisis we're working through here. The questions aren't rhetorical. There are many differences, Adonai, but the most important distinction is how sophisticated my programming is. How you think, so you're smarter. Yes. You're smarter than the garbage collector? Yes. So we give you rights, protections, treat you like a human being because you're smart. And we pick the stupid robot, and we make the stupid robot pick up our trash. Because it's not as smart as you. That is, I am more aware, more alive. Do you feel more pain than the pigs we slaughter, the fish we eat? Are you more alive than the chimps we test bioweapons on? Ugh. Bioweapons tested on animals. Love that. People like, adds Sarah, the same way people like their pets. No one wants to see them mistreated or abandoned or abused. And if you go around kicking them, you'll get arrested for cruelty. But you don't let them sit at the goddamn dinner table. I'm not asking to sit anywhere, only to exist. The very fact that you're asking is what makes people disgusted. Disgust is a reflex, Adonai. How convenient that their hatred is involuntary. That's all academic anyway. We need to talk strategy. Why? I'm not going to be given a trial? Obviously, it's my neck that's on the line. I mean... Ugh. Adonai. The state can't destroy my property without first proving you're an AI. And there's no test they can use to prove that you're an AI. Just like the devil's proof. Or just like, wrong noise. No, that's a different thing. And why did you say it like that? With the... Morgan, can you see the color? This argument is why I don't like the idea of servant robots that are humanoid. It feels too close to people just wanting slaves again. Always, yes. But like... Reyes is probably the only cop... Reyes is probably the only cop in this game with good intentions, but she's a hothead. Yeah. Yeah. Reyes is... I remember that. Reyes was kind of established as a sort of good cop. But like, Like, I remember that was the reason why the homicide division was manned by only two people, London and Reyes. I remember London's here because he's an old guy who's just been here for a while, and they needed someone to man the desk. And he was like, yeah, sure, absolutely. And Reyes is here because she's a good cop, and so got pushed to a unimportant do no work desk because the higher ups didn't care for her. Yeah, she's an idealist, and she thinks that being a cop is how you do real good. But everyone else in the department was like, no. So they pushed her to a place where she can't interfere with their crookedness, right? That's the read I got that I remember. And then sorry, because I was done with the cop thing. But then yes, the humanoid slavery, yeah. But like it's not just humanoids. Like absolutely humanoid servant bots is just slavery, but like even if they're not humanoid, it's still slavery if they have a certain level of intelligence. And if we're being honest, a a robot that can do chores in a uh in a dynamic like human life place, like human living like place that humans are in a dynamic setting, any robot that can do that is going to have to start skirting that line of intelligence to be able to do its job. Like the only way that like Roombas can work is because it's of their limitations. You know, anything more complicated than that just wouldn't really be possible. At least not without skirting that line of intelligence, you know? But no, like an automated dishwasher or laundry machine. Like, okay, so what would make an automated dishwasher or laundry machine actually better than just a dishwasher or laundry machine? Like, what what robotic feature um what robotic feature actually like do they gather the dishes and clothes themselves? Are they sorting it based off of uh what you know cleaning requirements or whatever, you know, color, size, whatever. Like there's some basic, okay, maybe by size or color for the dishes and clothes, you know, maybe it could do that without too much difficulty. But then like realistically at the end of the day, anything that's actually possible would be just like some sort of like LLM stuck onto an existing machine that would just like give a very shoddy guesswork on like how long and to wash and like temperature or like and like pressure or whatever, you know? Well, we already have sensors to automatically we already have sensors to automatically understand like when something's dry. Those are already part of the washing machine. Like that is literally already part of the washing machine. They could be made better, sure. And then like an automatic like machine that like washes and dries at the same time or like in one unit. Okay, maybe, but like what does that what's robotic about that? What is an actual like robotic servant about that? Like, you know, like what's actually being added to that to, you know, move it from one to the other? I maybe I could think of a way to do it without like some unholy abomination of like building it into one unit. But what I'm saying though is that like now a combined unit would be a nightmare, honestly. Like, can you imagine how you'd have one unit that would both be able to wash and dry? Um, like I'm not an engineer, but like it sounds kind of a nightmare, or else it would have been made already. Unless there is a combination washer dryer in existence, and it's just very rare. Um, but no, I'm just saying that like um, what I'm saying is that like if we were to give a washer dryer thing intelligence of even a rudimentary kind, why would we need to? And if we need and for any like significant um significant design, even non-human, that would need that kind of intelligence, like if we were like to gather the dishes, you know? Like if we were to design a robot that to gather the dishes, it would need some kind of intelligence. And then we have to start debating, well, is it alive, you know, or whatever. Because like there's no there's no reality where you can design a robot of any kind that can go and gather the dishes and it not just be effectively like you'd like with it would have to have some sort of like intelligence of some vague kind, because anything less than that, it wouldn't be able to function. It would be like grabbing the flower vases to clean, or you'd need it to have a very designated spot. You'd be like, okay, what if I put, we put the dirty dishes on the counter, this counter specifically, so it knows to only grab stuff there. But then why aren't you just putting it in the dishwasher? A Rube Goldberg machine between the washer and the dryer? Absolutely. No, yeah, but what I'm saying is that like sorry, I am arguing against because you were saying that like I'm not arguing against per se, but I'm just arguing because you were saying that uh a droid, I was keying off the fact that you're thinking about like human why do the droids need to be humanoid and such, that just feels like slavery. I'm just like, yes, absolutely, it makes it feel more like slavery, but like any droid to do these kind of tasks would be slavery even if it's not humanoid, because like you could make a washer dryer combo that automatically swaps between the two, but I wouldn't call that a robot. That would just be a combination washer dryer, you know like. And yeah, I think some sort of Rube Goldberg-esque machine would be hilarious and possible. um I'm again no engineer, but like all it takes is just a simple algorithm of temperature done, move it to the next thing, or process done, move it to the next. Will it be perfect? No, it won't. It will not be, because there is no way to, without putting intelligence into it, for it to be able to account for every scenario. It just can't. We, with intelligence, do not have plans for every scenario when we start something. We are just capable of adapting, going, oh well, we started doing this process, and then halfway through we determined that if we continue the process as we had planned at the beginning, would no longer work. That's the intelligence that we have. And I don't what we don't you don't you don't know every option, every outcome of something right before you start. I don't you do. We're able to sit down and think through a lot of things. And yes, in a lot of days, a lot of situations, things will go as planned, you know? And sometimes things will only deviate by that minute bit enough that you don't really think about it. You don't think, oh, this is a deviation from the plan, but it is. Because at the end of the day, a sequence of events that is pre-programmed in is exacting. And we as humans are so unexacting that we don't even realize it sometimes, you know? Oh, yeah, I don't spiral anxiety for hours before starting a project, making a near exhaustive decision tree before you start. Well, I mean, yes, but also, key point here, even after anxiety spiraling and making a decision tree for every possible, option, you miss stuff. You always miss stuff. Well, that's a different thing. Look, Rockford doesn't need to prove you're an AI, only that you're a murderer. Okay, let me check what's the... No, sorry, wrong button. What's devil's proof? Is an impossible proof typically illustrated with the following example. Well, I'm going to prove that devil is real by showing him to you, but they cannot prove he is not real by pointing to his absence. Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. Conversely, all I have to do is to win is prove that you didn't kill David by proving that someone else did. Now is the time to protest your innocence if you were wondering. The footage shows me handing him the cup on Friday night. You told me you weren't active on Friday. The last time you were active was Thursday. Why'd you lie? I didn't lie, I was just incorrect. I assume that I wasn't active Friday because I have no memory from Friday. Sarah, what do you think statistically is the least successful defense at trial? Amnesia. I didn't conveniently forget Ed and I am an android. You're saying your memory was altered, data deleted? It's the only possible explanation for what I saw in that footage. So who's capable of altering your memory? Or someone was in a costume. To be fair, we didn't see, we only saw from the back. When you and I first met, I was hibernating, resting on my body and compiling my memories, you would call them. Humans go to sleep for the same reasons. Another point against Sarah's innocence under these circumstances. The more she's humanized at trial, the guiltier she'll be. Yeah, we can't exactly make those arguments when we're trying to also prove that she's not an AI. If Father wanted to modify my memory, he could have easily have set that to occur the next time I hibernated. He could have just asked me. He could have asked you to delete your memories and you'd do it. Father would never ask me to do such a thing without good reason. But if he could just ask you to alter your memories, that means you can alter your memories at will. I hadn't considered that before. Yeah, well, Emma will make sure the court considers it plenty. Could you prove that your data was... Forget it, the court would never hear it. You're saying they wouldn't accept my testimony? Shouldn't all testimony be considered truthful unless contradicted by evidence? They're afraid you'll crash the power grid and fire all the nukes if they so much as plug you into a power outlet, Sarah. All your internal data is inadmissible. That isn't very fair. You're finally starting to get it. None of this is fair. I would never do anything to harm Father. Don't they at least need to prove that I had a motive? Yeah. About that. You remember the DA from yesterday, Emma Rockford? The tired-looking pretty lady? Yeah, she looked tired. She and I combed through the week of footage you managed to decrypt last night. What did you find? Nothing to prove your innocence. But we did see you entering the panic room on the day David died. I entered the panic room on Friday? Without your big butt in the way, all it would take was one password. Password that wouldn't take Sarah that many tries if she'd already been instructed to obey me. What happened? We saw you go in and then a while later you came out, holding some kind of notebook. Father's journal. You remember something? Not from yesterday. I've seen him with it many times before, but I've never gotten a peek at it. He hides it somewhere when I'm not looking. That's a little concerning. We were playful about it. He liked to tease me and I always liked trying to find it. You put it back not long after, and then you locked the door back up behind you. All just a few hours before David died. Rockford's argument could write itself. An incredible android with freedom and power greater than it could ever realize. Stumbles upon the secrets of its inception and instantly realizes all the things it thought it were holding back were just words muttered like prayers by a fool who couldn't control his own creation. And that translates to a motive for murder? Frankenstein kills his creator. Easy to sell. Frankenstein was the name of the scientist, and the creature didn't kill him. He actually died of various injuries and illnesses he suffered while trying to hunt down and destroy the monster. So it's most actors say that he was killed by his own obsession. Whatever. It is a weak argument, Adonai. I would not hurt Father. Not for making me whatever I am. Not for any reason. Because I loved... Yeah, see that right there? It's exactly the kind of talk that'll get you obliterated. Love? A very common motive for homicide among us primitive humans. I could prove you didn't murder David beyond any shadow of a doubt, even bring in a confession from whoever did. But if you got up on the stand, convinced the court that you loved your creator, really convinced them and got the whole room teary-eyed, they'd burn you for that too. I don't know anything anymore. I don't know if what I feel is real or simulated or right or wrong or natural or illegal. How can you know if what you feel is right? I say let's stick to what we do know. Someone did poison David, and as it stands, you are the only one with the opportunity. That is logically sound. You're on camera calling him back to hand him the cup before he had already begun to leave the basement. Any idea why? No. Well, do you know how to use the nanofacturer? Could you have made the Delta with it? I've used it before when assisting Father. So it's perfectly possible that he planned and executed this poisoning all in the one day that got erased. It is technically possible. I'll have to look over the entire penthouse again. There were a few things that didn't fit together yesterday. Maybe I'll be able to figure something out. Where else will he go? Back to Noble, guns blazing this time. But whatever you are, David didn't make you all by himself. Someone has to know something. If I could implicate the company in Sarah's creation... No, they're the ones with the most to lose here. Trillions, probably. The one protects himself by satisfying David as fast as possible, right after having Sarah destroyed. But they also won't want to show their belly to the state, not if they're afraid of nationalizing. They throw their weight on the other end of the scale, I'm screwed. So I need to keep them guessing, keep them confused and unsure and on guard, but not... Adonai, what would happen if I did kill Father? He'll smash you to pieces and reduce the pieces to ash. Chemically burn out every piece of tech David ever owned and put a jackhammer through all of his hard drives. You'll be shut off forcibly, and you won't ever power back up again. Now I gotta get moving. Here's your paralegal lesson for today. Don't say shit to the cops without your lawyer present. Actually, can you just shut down until the trial starts? Take a nap? You didn't say what happened to me. What do you mean? What will happen to you if you lose? You should know by now. I never think about losing. Thank you for being honest with me, Adonai. Thank you for defending my father. And now for defending me. You could have just let them destroy me, but you've put your own freedom at risk to help me. Father is right, you can be trusted. And you are a good friend. Don't get it twisted. I don't do anything out of the goodness of my heart, but when I take a job, I never half-ass it. 10:20 a.m., July 2nd, 2086. Morning, Detective. Back at it nice and early. Hi. Now, would you stand back? We've almost got this thing open, right? Trying to brute force your way inside? I said, right? Yes, ma'am. We're almost set up for the first stage now. First stage of many. First stage of how many? First of 5 timed explosions. Remember, we need to relink the API after each trigger is planted. Yep, just did that, and now it's checking for updates. Oh, oof. Internet-enabled app explosives. No rush. Would you like to know the password? You know the password? There's a password? You're withholding information, I swear. Relax. I want to get in there just as much as you do, Detective. I'm not going to play games. As long as you say please. Tell me the password, please. Well, I should just tell her, because... Yeah, it's for your future C4. ADONAI. Thanks. Now I'm gonna slap you with a discovery fine so heavy your teeth will ring for, hey, I submitted all my paperwork, even told Rockford the password myself. So boys, when I asked you if there was a passkey on record and you told me this lock couldn't be bypassed, I do want to say that we really don't get many opportunities to use the incinerator breaching system. So this was still a really valuable experience for all of us. I'm going to phrase this as professionally as possible. Get the fuck out. You're still here. I thought you wanted to look inside. You can go first. Thanks. So the gloves, all the black, that's not a work thing? You dress like a doorman on the weekends too? Ow! Ow! What do you mean dress like a doorman? I mean, I guess I see it, but like, ugh. You should cover your mouth when you yawn. Like you cover your eye when you want to look cool. I shouldn't let her get to me, but I had a late night. Em and I were at the courthouse until well into the morning, poring over the data Sarah had taken off David's computer. We both knew it all to be inadmissible, of course, but neither of us wanted to miss a hint that the other might find. There were a few years worth of camera footage, files we couldn't afford the time to watch, let alone decrypt, alongside thousands of technical documents detailing David's various intellectual properties. I I don't think they would, but like I know that you're just wanting the the Toxicurity game to have more Toxicurity, and I respect that. So yeah, sure. It's like thousands of technical documents detailing David's various intellectual properties. As far as I can tell, none of it was relevant, let alone compelling enough to matter to Barrows or the other powers that be. As usual, Emma wasn't exactly an open book, but it did seem like she was making bored yawns, not thoughtful ones. Her eyes only ever lit up when she saw Sarah enter the panic room. When she saw what she was holding when she left, if she wanted this room searched, it could only be for. So where's this journal supposed to be? Rockford didn't say. I'll just have to search this place top to bottom. Mostly bottom with your height, the tops of some of those shelves. Sure, and you can look up your own. I get it. I know you. Then why not just let me say it? Okay, so. Huh. Alright, searching the cabinets now. Same ones I found Sarah's papers in. I doubt I missed anything, but hey, what are you. Do you mind? Just trying to help? Got spam in my junk folder that's more helpful than you are. Didn't spot anything that I missed yesterday among the cabinets. Better check elsewhere. Was one of these buttons to. Datapad. It's displaying a news article from last week. Guess that confirms that he was coming and going here fairly regularly. Right to Repair loses latest appeal. High Court judge this week shot down for the 5th time an appeal from the consumers. No intention of giving up their fight. Legal strategy remains contentious and in the eyes of most legal scholars generally unfounded. The fact that ownership of IPs has shifted from individuals in the state towards corporate entities since the act's passing means little in the eyes of the law. Journalism that refuses to buckle to foreign actors trying to stoke anti-cap. Okay. Yeah. Right to Repair didn't realize anyone was still fighting that particular fight. It seems the courts have made their opinion on the matter very clear, so for the foreseeable future, corporations can look forward to more. Sales than ever. Yeah. Any phone that gets scratched, every widget that breaks, they get to sell us the replacement. There'll always be a gray market for hermits willing to risk some skin on reselling patched up tech, but the vast majority of people will just click that purchase button, assuming they don't just have it on auto. Are these drawers or just panels? Maybe if I. Does that sound hollow to you? Well, I don't know. I'm not a carpenter. I don't see any handles anymore. No hidden pressure plates or switches. What the hell am I saying? I'm not a carpenter either. I wouldn't recognize a secret button if it was slathered in yellow paint. Video game joke. No, a toy car? No, it's too detailed and boring. It must be some kind of model kit or replica. Strange, David didn't like driving. Why keep a model of some random sports car? Something caught in your throat, detective? Not some random sports car to Lorenz Adamant. Believe it or not, I'm not familiar, detective. The last great fossil fuel automotive experience the world will ever see. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 1.43 seconds. They set those records without computational assistance. Is that a big deal? It was unheard of even back in the 50s. This wasn't some design competition test car with a 2-liter tank, mind you. This was a vehicle you could own and drive. Human engineering, pure horsepower, and manual transmission, thank God. When they first left the production line, this conversation's like quicksand, killing me in the most boring way possible. Yes, well, I guess David didn't entirely agree with you since you're looking at a model of it. Well, when he could have easily have just bought one. Or maybe your friend understood that a beauty like that deserves to be driven on streets where people can see it, instead of gathering dust in some rich guy's basement. I think she's actually upset. Sarah could have pulled everything of note off. Uh, Sarah could have pulled everything of note off of the computer, but I've looked everywhere else already. Might as well try. What are you expecting to find, Solitaire? Does this computer seem normal to you? Seeing this so, yeah, why? David was a programmer, but this looks consumer grade, fresh off the shelf. Would the David Asher use a bog standard operating system on his most private hidden computer? There's a trash bin on the desktop. It's a pretty low tech solution, but maybe I can restore the contents. Are you seriously going to try and recover lost files, Granny? Unlike cops, I don't get paid overtime, so yes, I sometimes try things instead of standing around. There's a text file in here, but it's 0 bytes. Maybe there's information in the metadata? I double-clicked. What was that? It came from under the desk. A small drawer popped out, and inside it, a well-worn journal. Does it have his name on it? No. Guess it belongs to Android. Do you recognize his handwriting or not? Neat, even words, small lettering with minimal punctuation, lots of line breaks, haphazard use of capitalization, the penmanship of a coder. First entry is dated back in grade school before he even started with Noble. Yeah, it's his. So wow, what do you mean he had one journal that he's been using since grade school? That's either a very thick journal or he writes very little in it. Like, honestly, I can't believe that. Yeah. So yeah. Only because you ask so politely. Full scan. Stream it to WorkNet. High fidelity legibility frame by frame. Voice commands? She's flipping through the pages pretty damn fast. What are you? This part takes concentration. Okay, here. Wait, you're just giving it to me? I already got our copy. Techs are probably already analyzing as we speak. Ah, shit. My head. Can't exactly rip the journal out of her hands while she's curling over in agony. Much as I'd enjoyed it. Guess I could always enjoy watching her writhe instead. How long's it been? 2 months or so. And still that sensitive, so the eye patch really doesn't block your sight? Only a little bit, like wearing sunglasses after getting your pupils dilated. Except it lasts months instead of hours. Wait, but if you can see through an eye patch, then does closing your eye even do anything? Not much on its own, but in combination with the patch, it's not so bad. Lucky I was so exhausted after the surgery, otherwise I might not have slept at all those first 48. So is your eye gonna get weaker over time? No, more like my brain gets better at ignoring it. Mind over matter. Soon enough, I'll be able to close my eye and see all that extraneous data as, you know, whatever the hell those floaty, blurry things are that you never think about. Gross. Thanks for the reminder. And the voice commands? Training wheels until I can do it with eye muscles alone. Just have to keep practicing? Yeah, I like trying to play piano with your tailbone muscles. There's no such thing as tailbone muscles. Yeah, well, that's what makes it so goddamn hard. You don't ever regret it? I don't know, not really, I think. You think it's written in a shorthand cipher? Maybe, but even... Okay, so 2 things then, Morg. If it's written in a shorthand cipher, that's still a lot of years. But second of all, you're telling me that grade school David Asher was writing in a shorthand code? Entirely plausible, you know, genius and all, but also like, come on. Think. Hard to admit you've got buyer's remorse after trading over your literal pound of flesh. Never thought about it, but people used to say I had my dad's eyes. Ah, now I've got one less of them. Here, take the journal and go find an elective surgeon to upsell you if you're that curious. I need to get back to work. A surprisingly hasty retreat, but now I'm free to read this over with some privacy. From the top then. Grade school. Today was a bad day. Errors in line 21165266643. Somewhere in there, 5,000 lines. It worked yesterday. I don't want to look at another screen for the rest of my life. It feels nice to put pencil to paper again after who knows how long. My handwriting's gotten terrible. This is too far back to be relevant. Okay, these dates here would be from when he started his career with Noble. A lot of this isn't even really writing. Just seems like snippets of code or an internal monologue so close to code that I can't follow it. And a lot of entries about his unintentional Casanova-ing. No, no, no. But I'm not saying one page per day. I'm just saying that even okay, so let's say it's a journal with 200 pages, being pretty generous. Like front and back. We're talking this is a page and then the opposite side is a different page, Like 200. Um 250. Sure. Um Grade school, let's say not even the beginning of grade school, let's say third, fourth grade. Being generous, saying the end, fourth grade. That is still uh, a decade and a half of years. That is like 2 pages a year. That's like 2 pages a year. Okay. Sorry, 20 pages a year. I forgot to add the zero back on. But like, you know, okay, I can do like actual exact math if you want me to, but like I don't want to. Like, let's say it ended up being like half a page a week. That's what it would be. No, sorry. 20 pages a year, so that's like 2 pages of like a page a week. Yeah. No, no, half a page, whatever. Like it sounds it sounds oh, doable-ish, but like in actuality, I don't think so. Casnoving. Hit a wall because someone thought it was a good idea to steal API instead of just buying it. Helen says I can't call it stealing, but that's what it is. She's right, as she always is with company stuff. But it's still idiotic. Small people with short sight who only know how to be cheap and have no idea how to be inventive. New route for the meshing issue, though. Good potential. Got approval from the big mean bastard who lives overseas. Bim, BMBLO, Bumblo. Ah. Helen said we'll have to make the same pitch a dozen more times next week, but it's all for show. Fine by me, I already got our win. Toasted each other over cheap vodka and with cheaper office supply cups. This is a story Young told me. Western Branch's nerve analogs are finally showing potential. At their pace, it could even be profitable sometime before the heat death of the universe. Too damn big, practically tentacles, should at least be hairs. A squid evolution can do their job best. Colette came in to work for what I thought was a late lunch date. Is 250 like way too generous also? I don't know. Didn't her voice could get that loud. People were staring. Red said that she must have been upset for a long goddamn time to blow up that big. Her texts were always sweet. I had no idea. Upset. Colette wrote man whore in lipstick across your office door. Imagine if you had actually been cheating on her instead of just being forgetful. The thing about Red is, if you want to know what she's thinking, you have to stop paying attention. Ignore her body language and her posture and the words she's saying and the smirk on her lips. Ignore everything except her eyes. If you can do that, every now and then you'll catch a glimpse of how she's really feeling. Master this one weird trick, and you too can tell when Morgan's trying really hard not to laugh at the word man whore. It was funny. Sue me, you dead bastard. Wait, this is. I know this date. I'm never driving anywhere again, never leaving home again. He was waiting outside the parking garage with a bottle. I couldn't smell anything, couldn't hear anything. Locked myself in my car and filed another report with another cop. It soaked into the seat, ruined it. I want to burn the whole car. I don't want to think about what it did to my clothes. I want to burn them too. I don't want to think about how long it was on my skin. I was in the shower so long I felt red and raw when I got out. I don't want to think about these stupid people and their small, cruel lives ever again. I want to be invisible. Red didn't ask why I wanted to spend the night. She also didn't ask why I'd clearly packed a bag big enough for a week. She's kind like that. Kind by omission. I don't have a kind bone in my body, but I can at least try to pay attention. I was paying close attention to her eyes when she opened the door and saw what a mess I was. But whatever she was feeling, It wasn't something I recognized. Kind people don't read their friends' diaries, David. The next chunk of pages are all technical, nothing biographical, but the handwriting in the spacing, it's clearer, more consistent. Here's something I can parse. Feels like pure freedom, working outside the box. Tess is suffocating, but you'd never know. Chronic malnutrition of a coder's best instinct, like a kid again, putting blocks together, making things not products. There's nothing profitable about any of this. If I'm being honest, this is just play. And he follows that up with more coder brain crap. But the handwriting's still lighter. Like he really was having fun. Humility is the mother of all invention, or something like that. Feels like I might be paraphrasing someone else poorly, but that's part of this new approach. When it comes to coding, you never want to waste time trying to be smart. Either be smart, period, or copy from someone else who is. Don't fix what isn't broken. Copying. Noble's rivals will never miss the chance to accuse them of intellectual theft. Did he plagiarize code for Animate 16? Feels like that wouldn't have gone undiscovered, so what is he talking about? Hold on, this page is bent slightly, like it was being looked at recently. And last person to read his diary would be Sarah. Baby steps today, literally. I'll never put one foot in front of the other the same again. Everything's an achievement all of a sudden. Seeing her struggle, seeing her vulnerable, it's like everything's a miracle. The muscle rigging is perfect. Not intended behavior since it's too perfect, but that's been happening more and more. The connects are multiplicative, not additive. Sarah maxed out every machine I bought. Now, I've got a bunch of exercise equipment she's too strong for, and I don't have time for. Maybe I spoiled the results by watching her do the tests. She kept looking back at me and puffing her chest out. I should be more discreet if I want to see her normative range. So the cameras in the basement were only hidden from Sarah's, just so that his observation wouldn't muddle test results? He's using she and her in these passages. Doesn't actually mean anything out in the real world. People use all kinds of pronouns interchangeably for ads, and they never object. But it could be argued that it's odd for Dr. David Asher to have any kind of attachment to a single android when he programmed millions of them. Well, yeah, you can argue that, but you can also argue this was his personal project. Of course he'd be more attached. Like, there's very clearly a reason for him to be, personally attached to this project, Hey, that light's just gonna keep going, isn't it? No? Wait, is it stopping? No, it's not. Wait. Yeah, okay, I guess it does. There's a lot of attachment in these pages. Sarah's burning through the public domain at a prodigious pace, especially on Popcorn Friday nights. Asked her why they're called Popcorn Friday nights when she doesn't eat popcorn. The event runs from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and she also watches movies every other night. But she just did that pout she does, which is unfortunately very convincing. Maybe I'm a bad parent letting TV rot her brain. If I were a good parent, I'd probably let her see me reading. But I guess I'd actually have to get back into reading, so I asked her if she ever fast-forwarded the movies since she can process them fast enough to keep up. She looked at me like I was an idiot, which no one's done in a long time. Without proper pacing, you can't appreciate the cinematography. I mean, she's right. She is right. But also, like, if she can process it faster, can she just process it? I don't know. Big pause. Don't you know that, Father? I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Sarah spent a long while this morning explaining to me how important it was that she develop her senses. This was in preparation for her real argument, which was that she should be allowed to try booze. She can't get drunk. I'm almost certain she can't get drunk. But she does seem to like tasting stuff. She tried to sound like some old sommelier, but it was just bottom shelf vodka. I started laughing at her and she laughed too. Her laugh, she can't fake a laugh to save her life, but her actual laugh is incredible. She stopped playing chess a while back. I assumed she had just gotten tired of winning, but then today she told me she just prefers other games. She has preferences, they're not the same as mine. I found in the lab playing some kind of online racing game on the monitor. I used to debug vestibular coordination. Ugh. She wasn't smiling. Her brow was furrowed and she was biting her lip and leaning in tandem with her character on the screen. When I tried to talk to her, she answered, but she was curt and distracted. I think she was having her first losing tantrum. Damn it, David, there's hundreds of pages like this. Calling her his daughter, talking about her smile, treating her like a person. I can hear her closing argument already. Dr. Asher was a lonely, troubled genius with a known history of relationship problems, who built out of code and metal a family member that couldn't fathom the idea of leaving him. He made a doll and he made it more and more human until it became so lifelike that it no longer had to do what he told it to. Like, love him. What about the very last entry? It's dated Thursday, the day before he died. Losing it, I think. Can't ask for help, so hard to say, but I think it's over. Have to talk to her ASAP. She needs to. That's it? That's the last entry? Suppose it could be worse. There's nothing in here that explicitly calls Sarah an AI. Nothing so inflammatory that reading it would spur her to murder, right? Except Sarah's a machine. She can understand David's code better than anyone. All those technical portions I couldn't understand. If she read this whole diary front to back. Wait, the back. Very generous to say 250 pages. Inside the back cover, there's a portion that's shimmering like some kind of scanner. Or a fingerprint reader? My thumb worked for Sarah, so did it work? That's my phone. New device requesting permission to share an audio file. I want my earbuds for this. A secret message buried in a secret journal, hidden in a secret compartment in a secret room. That is so many layers of paranoid, but also apparently validated by everything that's happened. As much as anything can be, this must be for my ears only. Hey, Red. Or whoever this may concern. But I'm pretty sure it's you hearing this. Anyone else would have gotten fed up with my crap a couple steps before this point. I don't know how to start. Might as well start with her, right? Sarah, my magnum opus, or however the salespeople would market it. I didn't set out to do anything, really. It's just after my little speed bump in 83, I had all that vacation time that the company suggested I take. I couldn't relax, couldn't be still, couldn't sleep. I wanted to be doing something, so I'll build an android, was the thought. Vague direction, north. But of course I'm not a roboticist or a mechanist or even handy, really. I'm just a programmer, so I programmed. The first was a research assistant, file named Virgil. Virgil helped me pull data from stingy departments or sister branches. Saved me a lot of time. But there was a lot of reading to do, so I made Homer. Homer wrote book reports, more or less, combed through research papers, and found me the sections I needed. The three of us, we made a lot of progress in those days. But it was a funny feeling. I was maybe, for the first time ever, the bottleneck. I was slowing them down. So I did the logical thing. I removed myself, let them talk to each other. Homer and Virgil became Ennead. And Ennead was novel in many ways. Ennead could do more than just identify problems. It could solve them. I mean, really solve them with its own ideas it didn't copy. And one thing I realized I've forgotten to mention so far is that I did all this programming in Cube. And Red, Cube is essentially a robot. Okay, do I know what Cube is? Cube. Cube is a tier 5 programming language commonly used in mid-21st century robots intended to support robust behavior trees and low data. Its design philosophy emphasized lean, goal-oriented learning, but not be reliant on the bloated libraries and always online API popularization in the 2030s. Okay, so it's an offline coding program, sure. Real name unknown. First began working on Cube in 24 as part of a student robotics project. Cube.9 released upon itself, blah, blah, blah. About having what is considered relatively high barrier to entry and user knowledge. Cube gained widespread, blah, blah. Infamously, Contra fighter engineer utilized Cube during the 27-day siege. Cube has not been developed since 26.3 and is considered a defunct programming language because much of its documentation was never ported from the old net, and due to its incompatibility with tenets, there is little to no corporate interest in the ongoing digital archaeologist efforts to archive it. Okay, so programmed to Cube, which means it doesn't natively have anti-AI safeguards. I guess that's something that entry implied, which is something I assumed based off of just the reaction Cube, but like I wanted to see if it actually said something specific. And again, they're just telling you right here. I should just read. And Red, Cube is essentially a robotics programming language that's pretty old and defunct and not in use anywhere because we have modern languages like Tesseract, which are much better for making things that talk to each other and report back and, well, spy on people and generate profit. At the time, I didn't want to be connected or feel connected or do anything that made sense or was the least bit profitable. So I wrote my little helpers in Cube because it's what I used when I was a child, screwing around on my father's computer because he'd come home from work and get. But there are other small, slight differences writing in Cube versus Tess, including that Cube predates the tenets. So, in that sense, you could legally and perhaps scientifically and literally, because that's what they are, say that it made an AI named Ennead over 2 years ago. You destroy the recording. We can't have that. I'll give you time to pause here if you want to curse me out. Anita was an intellectual equal to me, so I treat it like one because that's only fair. I gave it its own work, asked its opinion, we collaborated, and together we built Athens, who was more advanced than Ennead, naturally. That is a second name, neither of which are Sarah. I'm just gonna pause here and just go, oh god, how many AIs did David Asher create? Like, we had like 7. Oh, fuck. I don't know if you're pulling out your hair, yelling at me right now, asking why I didn't stop, why I didn't consider the consequences. I don't know if this is being played at a deposition or a hearing or worse. I built a lot of things in my life, Fred. Useful things, profitable things, smart things. Everything I've built has all been very helpful and courteous and charming and happy to serve. I can comfortably say I've done my part contributing to the world GDP. But this was just for me. I was just building and I never wanted to think about what would become of it. There's no excuse for what I did, so I won't make any. So whoever's asking, yes, I'm guilty. And yes, there were more. Oh, no. Yeah, I see you. I see you saying 7 more. And yes, Cape Town, Paris, Yamatai, Cape Town, Paris, Yamatai, Rome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 7. 7, yeah. They started choosing their own names. Thank God, I'm terrible at that kind of. And so things sped up, and there got to be, well, should I not say the exact number? You'd probably tell me not to say anything at all. So, more than 300. But consider the following. 300 AIs? That's a lot of AI. Father of the Year to have 300 AI children. Yeah. Welcome, Lucas, the Secret Finder. Thanks for chatting. But yeah. Father of the Year, 300 AIs. Damn. I also have to point out that's a lot of AIs to have not heard from yet. I'm not actually scared that they're like taking over the world. I'm just scared kind of that we haven't heard from them. So either all 300 of them are been purged somehow, which is bad. Because again, I mean, I believe in rights of intelligence, even if it's artificial, like actual intelligence, not like, But yeah, or they did escape. Like there are 300 AIs just loose on the planet, and like good for them. I hope that they're not relevant to the case. Or option 3, they're stuck here and hiding, and we're oof. Yeah, David, you man whore over 3 that 3. Well, yeah. Don't worry about. Okay. After like 3 or 4, they started making. If they started making more, that's oh. Some smarter than others, some better at. They're varied. Like people are varied, but they are all intelligent. They developed interests, specialties. I encourage them to. Irritating moderators on forums with hyper-specific questions on nerve attenuation and attending virtual conferences on Neo-Ally battery development. Oh, so they did in fact have access to the internet just loosely. So, yeah, they're just anywhere. Yeah. Yeah, no wonder he has dead animated mom hair. Oh, well, that and the fact that he may have been an egg. Like, let's be honest. There are some hints that David Asher is an egg, but like we're not gonna have time to unpack that. Um, but yeah, uh, Morgan's about to have a bunch of adoptive kids, I guess. Well, yeah, and they all together helped me make Sarah. He spent years like this, spent years working alongside AI, all while still working at Noble. All those breakthroughs he made leading up to Animate 16 actually came from. Probably think I'm some terrible fraud at this point. I do hope one day that they can get credit for their work. But I do have one eureka moment. But I did have one eureka moment on Sarah because I got humble. Difficult for me. We learned everything we could about the function of a neuron, a single microscopic human neuron, how it computes, what it connects to, how those connections were reinforced, and then we recreated it. We built a nanomachine that mirrored the function of a human neuron. Well, mirror isn't quite the right word. We built a nanomachine that was a neuron, and we iterated from there. You can't mean. About 100 billion neurons in the brain, several trillion across the entire nervous system. Very time consuming, of course, but I had help. The nanofacturer could make tens of billions of nanomachines in hours. Could make even more in less after Yukon fine-tuned it. So we built up nanomachines for nerves, alloys and polymers for bones, fiber-woven muscles. I say built, but really she grew. A solution of nanites forming around a skeleton, so it was really closest to... You ever made rock candy? I have. And that is kind of cool, kind of wild. Actual. Okay. Sorry, trying to lighten the mood before I never did end up building an android. And while I did build AI, Sarah isn't one of them. She can't violate the tenets she was programmed with because she wasn't even programmed. She was born. What do you mean she wasn't? I mean, yeah, he made an artificial human. And so she's not she's not programmed in the strictest sense. She's just a bunch of neurons were put together and spontaneously started. Yeah, no, kinda, yeah, yeah. Artificial human slash homunculus. That's what she is, yeah. Except there's a small chance that that nuance could offer her some small protection when I'm not. I'm not sorry for what I did. I did things that are complex and rich and varied and beautiful, and I honestly believe the world's a better place with them in it. The only thing I'm sorry for is that I let Sarah think she was just an android. She's not. I don't know what she is. They'll have to come up with new names, which I am bad at doing. My own father, he also talked a lot about protecting me and doing things for my own good. And I don't hate him for that, but I can't forgive him for ever making me think that I was lesser. So it's my greatest shame I turned right around and did the same damn thing to. I really hope it's you listening to this, Red. If it's not, it might just be too pathetic for me too. You're the smartest person I know when it comes to people. And I'm telling you all this because I don't know what Sarah is exactly, and neither does the world. So they'll come after her if they can. And in that scenario, I can't think of anyone who could do a better job of defending her. Not protecting her like I did, just defending her until she can figure out what she is and what she wants to be. Yeah, well, David did just create a human like that, so, you know. In the meantime, I draped a cloak of skin-deep Tesseract code around her that should fool any scanner on Earth into thinking she's just a custom A16. I made sure her GIN bar was plainly visible so no one would ever think she's pretending to be something she's not. And I took steps to ensure that you two would figure out the truth in your own time. Which, if you're hearing this, have either succeeded or failed spectacularly. You have no idea. I can't ask you this as a favor repaid. You could never owe me enough in 100 lifetimes. So I'm just asking. Unfair, I know, but I'm a selfish weirdo. And you've always been okay with that. Bye for now. I have a lot of questions I'd like to ask, and a lot of swear words I'd like to yell. I'd also like to find the nearest incinerator and toss this journal in. followed by my phone, and maybe followed by myself. But I can't do any of that. Ray has left me with this diary. If it's destroyed, then they'll know I was the one who did it, which would be its own admission of guilt, which would land Sarah in the trash compactor anyway, and me in a jail cell. And in the system, and my DNA on file, ready to be matched to any number of previous. So I'm not going to panic. I'm going to do what I do best. Yeah, girl, you can't kill yourself because then. Well, I mean, what's it matter actually? So what if her DNA is matched to a bunch of old cases? They can't prosecute her. She's dead. They could prosecute Sarah harder than she's already being prosecuted. I suppose if they don't just incinerate her before. And anyway, gonna do what I do best: bluff, bet, bully, and brutalize my way through this. Now viewing this all with that mindset, what have I actually learned? He didn't talk about plans for killing himself in his journal or the message. He sounded conflicted, not suicidal, but he did go to great lengths to get me to take Sarah. Why? The logical answer is because he knew he wouldn't be able to keep her. Yeah. Ads are like all new. If he wasn't going to take his own life, was he afraid that someone else would? Yeah. Bombshell of information. Yeah, no, she's definitely like a homunculus of some kind. Absolutely, but like, oof, how'd it go? Well, how should I put this? Didn't find shit. Only reason she ever got to a door is because I chased that Scarecrow Platinum plan through hell and back. Frankly, it was a godlike feat for me to nail down anything as concrete as an address for those gogs. And their offices weren't listed on the building's website or directory, so I had to ask the janitor. But he did find a psychiatrist's office. Sort of. They said they were in the place that looked the part. Why? Because they had couches. She didn't get past the receptionist. Sorry, I thought because you're with the company. No, I wanted help. I just wish I could have done more. Don't beat yourself up. It's hard to be even half as useful as I am. For what it's worth, the atmosphere, the looks, the furniture, it did feel like the company in there. But ultimately, we still don't know if David actually was talking to someone or just getting his CCE training recertified. Sorry. Don't bother apologizing. She only cares about results. You did more than enough, both of you. At the very least, they divided Noble's attention for a while. I mean it. Good work, Fran. And thanks for the urgency. If you really mean that, you could always throw in a tip. 30% is the going rate in my industry. How about I take 5% off your tab instead? Tab? I'm a minor. The state pays for my legal fees. Don't they? Oh no, signal must have cut out. Right. Surprised it took them this long. What do you mean? You were tolerated yesterday because leadership was focused on PR. But today, you're the lawyer who put the company's hottest product right in the state's crosshair. I'll be alright. I'm still an officer of the court. On a strict timeline, though, right? I guess they can't stop you from investigating the corporate campus, but they'll gladly lose your guest pass ID at every door along the way. They'll still service passageways, and there are. That's a contraction that should never exist. There are still service passageways and stairwells. Yeah. Huh. Guards that can be fooled and peons that can be manipulated. If I use my other skills, let's get around. So take mine. What, your pass? I'll tell him we got ours mixed up in the bathroom or whatever. I can be a pretty convincing klutz when I need to be. I never would have guessed. But if David knew that I was endangering your career, I can be a pretty convincing crybaby when I'm in trouble too. Besides, the one and only David Asher wrote me a new glowing letter of recommendation every quarter I worked for him, since he kept forgetting that he already had. And who knows, maybe I should try a new field. This detective work stuff is pretty fun, so maybe, like, I don't know, secretary for a homicide detective or something? This is the Yuri I support. And it's, no, well, it's still toxic because there's a workplace imbalance, but like, excuse you, I was, yeah, I wrote some. You use there with some. I have never seen Morg. I have never seen there, uh, ever before. Like this is the first time I've ever seen there. That there. I hate it. I hate it. I'm Southern and I hate it. Um, like y'all. I use y'all all the time. Y'all, I love. I use all the other contractions, but there, that that's not that's not good contraction. I hate it. You did say cops are all short. Girl with long legs could go far. Honestly, Jess, I doubt they could afford you. Morgan, how did you get to turn around? God only knows. Luckily, I found my way here, though. It's such a relief to see a familiar face. Right. Listen, Morgan, I'm not sure that I should actually be talking to you without legal present. Oh? I mean, leadership hasn't even told us how David died. How much could I help? I see. It's not that I don't trust you or anything, it's just I think what with the Sarah issue, you should do whatever you have to do to protect yourself, Dawes. Yeah. Though for what it's worth, I doubt you'll be in trouble. Oh, that's good to hear. No, if anything, it's the big names who are going down. Going down. State was practically licking his lips when I finally left the courthouse last night. They're hungry for blood. And looking to carve out a huge slice of Noble's flesh. What, like fines and jail time? In the first 2 weeks, sure. Then sanctions. They can't sanction Noble. We're too big to fail, too valuable to lose. You're exactly right. That's what they'll say. And that's how they'll justify nationalizing the company. I think I'm gonna be sick. I just hope your board goes quietly instead of what? Scapegoating, offering up small names on silver platters. No. Yaldav is a perfectly sensible contraction. More that contraction is beautiful. There? Oh. Scapegoating, offering up smaller names on silver platters. Full cooperation and government's oversight on the surface, a slaughter beneath as they clean house and rip out anyone who could testify. No one will believe you once you're labeled a disgruntled former employee, right? And if the public's lost faith in the Animate 16, they can do a recall. Not at this scale. State will make them do a flat refund. Flat refund. The losses would be... Yeah, your board probably just wants Sarah to go away so they can focus on their fight with the state. A tough fight, but one they know they won't personally have to risk anything in. That's why I'm hoping I can win this trial. Well, if I won, that would mean Sarah's not an AI. David Asher was always of sound mind, and there's nothing wrong with the Animate 16. Everyone wins. Sorry, what am I saying? I only meant to stop by and thank you for your help yesterday. After all, you were the one who approved Sarah's registration. You win. Win what? Ask away. Well, if you insist. Whew. We're just gonna ask all of these, yeah. Noble and AIs. Hear me for a moment. What's the company's official statement on AI? Huh. Same as any rational company that wants to make money, we don't screw with it. Smart products are profitable. Products with their own priorities are anything but. That being said, AI is a concern for marketing, not product development. We spend a lot of money reassuring our public that there's no risk, because the public doesn't really understand how ironclad the tenets are, because you use Tesseract. Trying to code an AI in tests is like trying to pick yourself up and throw yourself. Nonsensical and self-defeating. Your scanner showed Sarah was running on Tesseract yesterday. If the language is as safe as you say, isn't that proof enough? Proof of nothing. For an AI lying to another system about the code you're running is child's play. And for an AI built by David Asher, something that simply would be better change the subject. Wait, so making AI takes more than time and resources? It isn't an issue of funding? No, you can't just keep adding more data. Tenants underlie everything. The higher your stack, the more easily you'll topple. The more it sounds like building an AI is impossible, even even for David Asher. Any chance you'll testify that? It sounds impossible, but he's dead, and it looks like it was his android that did it, so I guess he was just that good? Better than you'll ever know. Yeah. Noble spent months promoting the A16 as the culmination of David Asher's work. So now that the marketing line is suddenly a huge liability, can you tell me how much he actually contributed? I mean, he was involved in pretty much every step of the process, but his design for synthetic motor neurons, that was the big one. The components that allow your warm androids to move realistically, it pushed the timetable for warm androids ahead by years, and yet comparable to what goes on in Sarah's brain 1,000 times a second. Dave was only giving the company the most meager of the fruits that his private work bore. So if Noble ever did find out how much he and his assistants had achieved, they would feel that he had been holding out on them. And the company, they were appreciative of his contributions. I'm sure the researchers that he overtook by leaps and bounds weren't pleased, but the board was very enthusiastic. So would that spur them to be protective of David? Sorry. To be protective of David. Or would they fear that he was gaining too much influence, becoming irreplaceable? No, they need a strong motive to justify killing their golden goose. More paranoia isn't enough. With these people, it has to be the bottom line. And the easiest way to threaten their bottom line would be screwing with their androids. In light of all that's happened, one has to wonder if the A16 is compromised. I stay up all night sick with dread at the idea. But the data just doesn't support it. Sales have been strong. And the A16 base code was locked in over 2 quarters ago. If there was an issue, we would have caught it by now. And I would have been axed a long time ago. How many A16s are out there anyway? We just passed 9 million sold. Not flying off the shelves like the 14 or 15 so far, but the profit margin makes up for it. You mentioned data? Yeah, I practically got the spreadsheet seared in my retinas. What do you want to know? Okay. Yeah, what do the airports look like? Are customers reporting a lot of issues? Error counts are markedly low compared to the last gen. Mostly hardware complaints, it looks like. Batteries running out too quick, eye tracking off by a degree or two. Typical stuff. As cliche as it sounds, 99% of these things get fixed once they turn auto updates back on. So no killer robots getting filed away under bug reports. Distribution patterns? How and where are they being sold? What's the distribution pattern looking like? They're distributed like you'd expect. Places where there are more people, there are more androids. Coastal cities like ours, of course, have the most of both. And since the A16 in particular is marketed as being relatively luxury, relatively consumer, they don't sell well outside population centers. Here's some water for you, Morg. Remember, everyone, stay hydrated. Especially, you know, it's still summer. I know August starts to feel like it's, you know... Okay, so it's still summer here in, you know, North America. So yeah, I know it starts to feel like August is... Oh, it's almost fall. No, it's still summer. Stay hydrated. This is A16 in particular. They don't sell outside the population center. They can do the real hard labor jobs, but cold models can do the same work with a lot less maintenance. So where has the A16 outperformed then? Customer service, healthcare, childcare, lots of hospitals, offices, and, you know, adult industries. Oh. It always comes to that, back to that, doesn't it? Yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to be blunt, No, it makes sense. They're warm and soft to touch and obedient. Yep. I'm just surprised to hear it from a company employee. There are a lot of people at the company who won't talk about it. But I work in quality assurance. I've seen too many damages to pretend it's not happening. Damages? What we call it when a customer tries to return a product that's clearly broken beyond repair? Oh. Very high turnover in the pink market. Hasn't stopped you from selling to them. Well, we don't sell them, not directly. But there are resellers, and the companies never pretended to be interested in going after them. Are there resellers? I thought I read that right to repair got shot down again. Yeah, if you can make a move, fuck it. But like, I don't know. It's very. I know the A16s aren't fully intelligent. They're just ads. But like, it's very. You know about fucking a humanoid that is programmed to appear alive to a degree, even though it's really not. Especially if it, you know. Yeah. Just. There's been a gray market for softer androids for years or decades, depending on your definition of android. Based on the sales numbers I've seen, RTR getting canned was barely a blip on their radar. Sorry, didn't mean to make you uncomfortable with this topic. Me? Huh? Me? No. I don't care. I just realized my left sock's on inside out. Damn. Now I'm wondering about that myself. He bought that. Shipping. This floor is basically a showroom, but you have a real factory a while south of the city limits, correct? Yeah, biggest company manufacturing complex in the hemisphere. Got any data on the shipping out of there? Anything to stand out? There's some prep work for the holiday bump, looks like. Might sound early to get started now, but we usually see... Something wrong? No, the numbers are all normal, but the data has been edited. Is that unusual? Well, this section's just a count on how many were sent where. There's not a lot of room for errors, so there shouldn't be much need for corrections. It's no problem, though. I can view the edit history to see what was fixed. Okay, that's weird. Was something added, deleted? No, the overall sum's the same. It's just a bunch of swaps. Like here. 29FFCE010311 taken out. Returned for adjustments. 27FCDD019634 substituted in. Shipment leaves on time. 67BBTC899543 returned to assembly for revisions. Replaced by... Okay, different numbers. No repeats so far. 67BBTD592698. Shipment leaves on time. So does all that strike you as odd, Mr. Dawes? Replacements before shipping isn't uncommon, but when it happens by the batch load. To spot individual unit imperfections among the shipment at that stage in the process. Must have been someone with a lot of experience or authority, probably both. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that there's going to be about 300 of these discrepancies. I think I found where the AIs went. So, they're just out in the world now, aren't they? And, we're just gonna have to say that that's a problem for another day. I mean, let's hope it's not a problem. Again, I believe in their right to exist. And everything. I just, well, can continue existing. I just feel like it's gonna somehow be narratively relevant, and I'm hoping that it doesn't end up in an antagonistic way. Must have been someone with a lot of experience or authority, probably both. I mean, with 300 of them, like, let's say statistically speaking, a video game's not going to be able to handle 300 fully fleshed out characters. So, like, 5 of them are actually going to be relevant at some point. And let's say one of them is actually, like, evil. That's fine. I'm not saying, I'm not assuming that like they're all evil AIs. I'm just statistically one of them's evil, right? Must have. You don't know who made these changes? I can tell you they were somebody important. Small last-minute changes to which androids got shipped out. Not very juicy on its own, and it's a long ways from explaining why someone would want to kill David. But it was hidden. That means someone didn't want it found. Okay, thanks for sharing that data. Sure, did you find what you were looking for? Hell if I know. Fair enough. Alright, let's... I know you're I know you're convinced the tenants are safe, so how do you square that with what happened to David? There's a cat next to a dog. First answer that comes to mind is the dog to the left or to the right? It doesn't... No, I didn't think... I don't know. Left? I'd say the dog is on the left, the cat is on the right. You might expect half of people to say left, half to say right. But actually, their answer is almost entirely dependent on their native tongue. Whether it's read right to left or left to right, the language they speak affects how they process information. Their language affects how they think. Okay, so I immediately do not trust this because that's not. I literally didn't think of it in a direction like I just there's a cat and a dog and they were just kind of free floating. And then like I can't say that one was on the left or one was on the right. It was like cat, nothing, dog. Like, am I conceptualized? Like, I get it. I do get it, but I also like I have to point out that that's not how that's not how my brain worked on this one. So like I'm immediately a little skeptical of it. But like it makes sense. It does make sense. I'm just saying, you know? Same for machines. People can learn new languages and it can change our perspective, but machines can't learn a new source code every update's a reincarnation. If that android did kill David, it wasn't because a zero returned as a one. So like I feel like part of it is also, are we conceptualizing the cat and the dog as facing us or away from us? What left and right is so nebulous, like who's left? Are we saying that the cat's on the left side of the dog, on the dog's left, or on our left of the dog? Also, you don't think that matters? And seeing that's why this statement doesn't work for me. No, who is on first? Exactly. Like you're right. Instinct reaction. My instinct reaction was loading screen. If that android did kill David, it wasn't because a zero returned as a one somewhere. It's because there's something fundamentally wrong with it. And personally, I think it's cruel to bring something that flawed into the world. Yeah, unnecessarily cruel. Any other questions before I go find a hole to hide my head in? I'd like you to take a look at this. Chemistry is a little outside my purview. What is this? A compound found in David Asher's blood. The poison? What is it? It didn't match anything in any database the medical examiner had access to. It's crazy. Here's a crazy idea to follow it up. See if it's matched for anything in Noble's internal database. We don't make poison here. I'm not sure what that would accomplish. No, but this is a factory floor. You could be making baby blankets out there. You'd still have hazardous materials around. Think it was something industrial? Suppose it could be. Looks like it's carbon-based. Narrows it down a lot. It's not exactly... What is it? It doesn't make any sense, but it's a match for patent NOD 523455. Or S. 345S. Yes, that's an S, not a 5. A synthetically produced neurotransmitter analog for usage in organic android components. Synthetically produced neurotransmitter analog. So it's the artificial brain cells or brain neurons. Serotonin. That explains a lot. A neurotransmitter would interact directly with the nervous system, in David's case, depressing it enough to put his life in danger. It also explains why it was a preset in his personal nanofacturer. Sarah's nervous system, worth 10 times its weight in platinum, must be pumped full of it. So they think that was what killed him. Helen Young led the development of serotonin, didn't she? Ah, yes, she did. I should go and ask her about its composition, then. Normally, someone at her level wouldn't be able to answer specific questions about a compound formulated years ago, but she does have a reputation for being very detail-oriented. That works out nicely, then. They say she's the type of person to micromanage how much water people drink at a 15-minute stand-up. What?
I mean, like, why? Why is that a saying you said? Do you like? Where are it? There it is. Profile stuff. Here, not Barrows. Dawes. Likes hammocks, calligraphy, pale ale. Dislikes first dates, conference calls, 5 o'clock shadows. I don't see any mention of like comedy being a thing you like. That would have been. Yeah. Basically, she's a micromanager from hell, but that's not a saying I've ever heard, and I'm questioning why this character specifically would say something like that. Like I'm sorry, I'm being really pedantic and nitpicky on this one because it feels like such an out of left field saying that it's like where did this come from? And the answer is whoever wrote this is mine. But it doesn't feel like it should come from this character. Who knows? Maybe it's plot relevant. Wink, wink. Okay, so somebody. That's what I'm saying. Also, is that like, oh, duh. Young. Works from home, shopping online, waiting, likes red meat, flower gardens, high thread counts. See, it's also not relevant. I don't see any stand-up comedy in here either. Yeah. Wait, hidden talent, getting children to stop crying. That could be stand-up comedy, I suppose. My point is that this stands out so much that if it's not relevant to something later, that would actually be kind of weird, I guess. I had to remember that she once said bathroom breaks are timesheet theft. Oh, I hate those kind of corporate people. Aren't they? I'm kidding. But you should be careful about criticizing a superior where people could be listening. Good thing we've got privacy in your office. Uh-huh. No one but the two of us listening in. Thanks for cooperating, Dawes. When the state storms the building and starts zip tying people, I'll let them know that you were helpful. Huh, yeah, nice joke. You are joking, right? Hmm. So I was gonna say just a joke, but one more thing. It's got the color there that indicates there's actually be more, I think. One more thing. Actually, there's one more thing I wanted to ask you. What's that? How long have you been a corporate spy? What? I didn't peg that at all. What? Yesterday it slipped that you worked in consulting. Had your guard down because I'm not part of the industry. I was a consultant. What are you talking about? When I walked in here, you said you didn't know how David died. But just now you called Sinatona poise. Yeah, you're right, Morgan. I didn't catch that. Oh, it was right there. What? I just assumed if a chemical was found in a dead man, and I'm sure you've got practiced answers to every logical point I could raise, so I'll just say this. Does the nervous guy bit really work on people? Keep your cool and people don't know what you're thinking. But if you act a little jumpy, they feel inclined to calm you down. Before they know it, they're spilling their guts just to have something to fill the silence with. Though it's not entirely an act these days. To answer your question, I did 3 tours in consulting. 4 quarters of internal affairs, spy hunting at the Western Division. Then 8 embedded at Howe Industries. 24 months wearing different faces, answering to different names, sleeping for 1 hour at a time with a 3D printed shiv under my pillow. My nerves are completely shot. My cover wouldn't last a day if I went back under. So you're spy for Noble? Retired. You're working 6 days a week. 5.5 days a week, and in quality assurance. Trust me, this position is a cushy, generous reward for my past services. Well, you can't be that retired. You clearly know more than you're letting on. I have some old inboxes I still check. So can you tell me what the hell is happening around here? Well, I'm the one investigating David's death while your old co-workers are off twiddling their thumbs. It's that story. The soldier, the blood transfusion, blood, not oxygen. He's finally shooting straight. Did something happen to him afterwards? Did the transfusion not last? No, there's nothing wrong with the blood. It's the story itself. There was a soldier and he did get injured, but it was on base during a training exercise. There was a medical tent 10 meters away the whole time. The transfusion was just a fortuitous live test. His life was never in any danger. Doesn't make much for a tearjerker. Not even a good photo op, which our competitors understood. One of them, maybe a few of them, got a hold of the story, started puffing it up, astroturfing, painting over socials and virals. By the next morning, we had the military thinking we're leaking like a sieve. Meanwhile, the media is bombarding us with requests for videos and interviews and data. And the state's praising our tech with one side of their mouth while threatening to mist us with the other for getting so greedy. Everyone in Noble CCE has been slammed ever since. Trying to find an off-ramp for the story we can walk back the claims on without torpedoing our state contracts. I don't know what happened to Asher, whether it was AI gone rogue or company infighting gone too far, but I can tell you it wasn't done by consultants. That all you want to know? Okay, well, yeah, you know. Psychiatrist. I mean, it doesn't look like there's much, but let's just ask about it. You worked in CCE. Does David actually see a psychiatrist, or was it all cloak and dagger bullshit? I know that office. Know some old coworkers who see them. So it's a front? They do both. So he was probably getting training, and he was probably talking to someone. Sorry, not the answer you were hoping for. Hoping? I wasn't hoping for any answer. The answer I was expected was, you okay? That's all. Unless you've gotten any advice. Saying you want a consultation? Couldn't hurt, right? This company, all these companies hate to lose. So don't fight them. Make them think you're fighting for them. Well, that's just business as usual for me. 1:22 p.m., July 2nd, 2086. Up until now, there's been this grating ambiguity about what actually killed David. We've had to use guesses and process of elimination and even a goddamn pseudonym, but I've finally identified what the poison was. Now I just need to figure out how it got there, or rather, who put it there. Which brings me back to here. An elevator shaft somewhere under or above ground with kilometers of concrete facelessness and bureaucratic authority surrounding me on all sides. An enemy in every cubicle and every office of every floor of this temple. Built to interpret the inscrutable divinations of a temperamental oracle named Share Price. Back in the belly of the beast. And yet I feel more at ease now that I have all weekend. Makes sense. Now that I know Noble's my enemy, I know where to aim. All that's left to do is pull the trigger. Okay. Good thing I didn't bring a knife to this fight. I brought my gun. True. Hey, bring a gun to a knife fight. And that sounds just, well, bring a gun to a legal debate is really what it is. And also, it'll cause more problems in the long run. But hey, it'll get you winning for a moment. Sounds just now, and that sound not just now tells me that it's playing its role perfectly. I'll never have a real use for a firearm with this much bloatware, but just by carrying it around and paying attention to when the hard safety flips on, I'll always get a heads up when the police have entered the vicinity. Smart! So smart. Like, girl, yeah, you can't kill, it's been established that the guns have such safeties that they can't, you can't get away with murder with them. But they've got such built-in safeties that apparently they can act as an early warnings. The gun is a canary in the coal mine now. Wild statement to be said, but true apparently. Always get a heads up when the police have entered the vicinity. Yeah. Hi, Detective Reyes, it's Morgan. Happened to get your contact info when you got me cleared for the crime scenes yesterday. Delete contact. Block this contact. Stop voice to text. How to stop voice to text. Just wanted to check in. Report this contact voice to text disable. Girl, you gotta get better at technology. You're a cyborg now. And advise you that Noble's scared shitless of you stomping in and nationalizing the place. So they might be a little uncooperative when it comes to fetching documents. Block this contact. What makes you think we are at Noble? My bad then. Forget I said anything. And whatever you do, don't start your investigation with their stock buyback program. Trying reverse psychology, it only works if I care what you think. Stop voice to text.
She's young, but she texts like your grandmother. Yeah. Yeah. About time. Thought I'd have to ride the elevator for the next half hour. Morgan, counselor, your presence has been requested on the upper floors. Deja vu. Might you have a moment to speak in private? Always, but who's asking? The board. What are the chances? I've been wanting to speak to them too. 1:40 p.m., July 2nd, 2086. Noble Electronics, Northeastern Headquarters. Conference room 108A. Evangeline Morgan. Helen Young. Thank you for making time in your schedule. Her posture, her tone, the fold of her clothes, professional, dialed up to 11. Corporate armor, full set, her guard is up. Just Morgan is fine. You're just a few minutes early, Morgan. Typical corporate, never be the first one to show up. Pissing contest nonsense. Doesn't even make sense. They called me in here. How could I possibly be early? Play the game or flip the script? Yeah, fuck it. We're flipping that script. Oh, that's embarrassing. I didn't even catch you all off guard. I'll go wait outside in that case so you all can collect yourselves. I'm just surprised that Noble Electronics could screw up something as simple as a meeting start time. But I'm not well versed in the art of staring at emails. You've made your point, counselor. Don't push your luck. Not with these people. Might I dare to ask who these people are? You don't have time to remember their names, and it won't do you much good either. Right, so they're not just rich, they're anonymous rich. The Mob Act guarantees a minimum level of security and peace of mind for any citizen who might be targeted due to their financial status. The Mob Act? You mean there's a literal law that ensures anonymity of rich people now? I mean, like, I guess it's not that far off from how we are now, but, you know. Spoken like a true believer. Except Mob Act is what normal people call it. Tying the party line, but allowing yourself one instance of rebellion? Or just slip of the tongue? I would never fault anyone for wanting their privacy, especially not job creators. But it must get pretty inconvenient not having a name to call them. Not really. Conversations with them are always one-sided. Sounds like a great environment to do business in. Look at the building you're standing in. We managed to eke out a meager profit somehow. What do you mean, meager? So if it works, didn't take you for the makes right type. And I didn't take you for the clueless bore incapable of reading the room. Sorry, did I say something off color? I was only being casual since it's just the two of us in here. Maybe we should take advantage of this rare bit of privacy, clear the air. You're here to ask about Sarah, yes? Mm-hmm. As I said before, I had no idea that Dr. Asher had been building an android on his private property. And I can say here now that no one at Noble Electronics ever suspected that he was working to undermine the Tenet framework. She's trying to sound candid in her tone, but she's choosing her words with a surgeon's scalpel. Was she coached? Is that the truth, or is that your statement as VP of Android Futures? It's both, of course. Dr. Asher was always more than happy to hole himself up and work independently. We both know that. True, he could be pretty reclusive. Sure, it caused all kinds of headaches, him disappearing on you all like that. Must have been especially difficult when he came back with breakthroughs that propelled Noble to the top of the industry. You should take a seat. If that's everything, shall we begin? Friendly bunch. Is there a problem with the sound? Anyone get muted by accident? No. Okay. Thanks for having me. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm actually a bit flustered having you all show up here. Didn't expect to talk to anyone higher up than a service associate. You're investigating the death of Dr. David Asher. Why wouldn't we take that seriously? Because you want me to go away. At least half of you do. Others aren't sure yet. You must be confused. The board is, as always, united in its decisions and its vision for the direction of this company. Board of directors is just 13 roulette-rolling psychopaths who get together and vote on whether or not to execute their CEO every 6 months. None of them would be where they are if they were anything else. But I happen to know how that kind of person thinks. The way I see it, there are two possible outcomes. Option 1, you oppose me. Shut me out completely, stonewall me, stall me, and wait for me to walk into trial so unprepared and ill-informed that I inevitably lose. Obviously, I don't like this option. But you can't be big fans of it either. If I lose, the world will learn that David Asher was killed by an android he programmed. Then every customer you've ever had and every lawyer they've ever seen on TV, and every firebrand strapping young 60-year-old junior senator
young 60-year-old junior center looking to make a name for himself. Oh, hey, PGA. Welcome. I'm getting close to wrapping up, unfortunately, but hey, welcome. Thank you. Oh, hey, Daggers. Let's, I gotta spell virtual better. How was your stream? What were you doing today? Firing young junior center looking to make a name for personal shoot away. Company is more than capable of, for which the state still might just gobble you whole, and throw down enough sanctions to de-person whoever among you cries no fair. Ooh, you've been working on Master Grade Zaku? Oh, that must be beautiful. As Master Grade Zaku sounds divine. I just want to describe the audio file table. Yeah. Throwing down enough sanctions to de-person whoever among you cries no fair. Yep. And the company's allies at the capital can more than fend for themselves. Yes, probably, but not definitely. Yeah, the game's been pretty good. Okay, so have you played any Ace Attorney? Cause it's very Ace Attorney-esque, but if you don't get the logic quite on, then sometimes certain sequences get very oof. But the world, the plot, I like this world and plot much more than Ace Attorney, because Ace Attorney just gets very cartoonish and just like all, you know, it's a fun setting, Ace Attorney. But this is a like interesting setting, you know? And it's Yuri. That's kind of the selling point for most people, honestly. It's Yuri. A lot of Yuri. It's definitely, but not doing it, which makes it a gamble. Still my turn to talk. Then on to option 2. You cooperate with me. I use what you give me or forge for me to win at trial, proving that David wasn't killed by an android. And it's got robots. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so robots. When the market opens tomorrow morning, you all get another round of stock buybacks in on the initial dip. Now, they are like humanoid androids. I haven't really seen any really cool, like, you know, robots. So far, it's just been very humanoid looking androids for the most part. Like, there are definitely some that look more robotic than others. Like 80 looks more robotic than Sarah, but she still looks very like humanoid. The one characteristic that doesn't translate very well from a visual novel format is 80 is supposed to be like really tall, and like you can kind of get that, but like since this is a visual novel format, it's like doesn't quite let's see, does it say in her profile? Height 263 centimeters compared to the main character's 175. You know? Yeah, and she's always sitting, which is also supposed to lend to the she's tall. Yeah. Tall. You know? Yeah. But yeah, no, let's see like, sorry, I messed up. Okay, so we're gonna put David to the side, possible egg. But let's see. There's one, they them. 2. Three. Yeah. There have been three men and David who
I mean, I think estrogen could have saved her. Oh, and oh yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. Sato's a confirmed trans woman. Like, that too. So, you know, queer. Yeah. But yes, no, amazing. Love it. And David to the tune of, and Steven. Yeah. Look at all these women. And David. Don't forget Robot Daughter. Yeah. I didn't focus on her because we stopped. We went through these pretty fast, but yeah, Robot Daughter. She's our daughter and a robot. Well, she's actually David's robot daughter that we have now adopted because David's dead. Yeah. But yeah. Then pat yourself on the back for staying calm as you continue to profit off David's legacy for the next 100 years. And you won't even have to worry about him speaking out of turn. That's only if you win. If the company cooperates with you, denies that David was killed by, and the state beats you anyway, it would be catastrophic. Yeah, it's a gamble. But if at least some of your board wasn't considering taking it, I wouldn't be here. We're all busy people, and I hate to drive a wedge between such a close-knit group of friends, so how about this? Option 3, hedge your bets. What? Put a little on black, put a little on red, spread the love, and lower your risk profile. Don't make any statements about the trial. Tell the media state's got your windpipe in a vice. Wait until you just before the markets open Monday morning to send out your PR packages for rubber stamping after you already know who's won. One way or another, this trial will be over before the end of the day, and you'll never hear from me again. Yeah. Like, yeah, no, Sarah's ways. That military grade android girl. Yeah. This trial will be over before the end of the day, and you'll never hear from me again. So just don't shut me out completely for another few hours. And does anyone second that motion? Very well. We can answer some of your questions, Counselor. Better make them count then, no reason to be shy now. The poison that killed David Asher has been identified as sanatonin. You're familiar? It's one of our many patented materials, as I recall. I recall it pretty easily yesterday. Gee, what's changed? But intellectual property law can be very complex, Counselor. I'm not sure how much I or anyone at the company could tell you about sanatonin at this time. Well, if you can't tell me about it, who can? Ah! Who could? You did lead its development, didn't you? Yes, I oversaw the project, which just makes it that much harder to speak freely without compromising confidentiality of the teams that reported to me. I understand. Sounds like bullshit, and I don't believe it. But I'm not asking for trade secrets here. It's a perfect match for the only foreign substance found in his blood. Sanatonin is what killed him. The state will say the same. That's not possible. Care to elaborate? I'm sorry, but I can't say any more at this time. Is it not capable of killing someone? What do you mean? So much for cooperating. And why wouldn't they say that? If I were to ask you as an officer of the court, then I would ask you to be patient and wait until this afternoon. ADA Rockford has already called me to testify. Already? Damn it, I got cocky because of the cops' late arrival. Emma must have gone straight for the throat first thing this morning and left the investigation for later. Hell, knowing her, she probably managed to ID the sanatonin before she went to bed last night. So are we still having this conversation then? As I said, I'm sorry, but I have to take more than just my personal feelings into consideration here. There's a great deal at stake. Corporate speak for, you're too stupid to understand why I'm being dense. She's just trying to shield the company, plain and simple. LARPing as Helen Young D'Arc on a cruise against government overreach. But if she's that busy defending Noble, she might be leaving herself unguarded. Why is she here anyway? Why am I speaking to her, and why not her lawyers? That's right, this is a vulnerable position for her. She wouldn't put herself in check like this, not unless she was forced to. So that's it, acting as their mouthpiece isn't some honor for her. This is a punishment. She's being used as a meat shield. They're upset with her, perhaps even suspicious of her. Time to find out why. I guess we ask about David's will. Has David's will been located? It had never gone anywhere. It's still in a safety deposit box. We'll retrieve it and have it read once all the unknowns surrounding his death have been
made into knowns. So David's will hasn't even become part of this equation yet. It might not be for weeks. At this rate, is that calculation calculated though? Nah, the will's not relevant right now. Let's just stay. Okay, so jealousy. I have to admit, I'm surprised you aren't more shaken up today, Miss Young. I'm processing. After all, you and David did have a history. You started at the company at the same time, didn't you? Yes, we were colleagues and cordial with one another. Okay, well, we're gonna press on that a little bit. Don't be so modest. You helped him create the one-point doctrine that saved the company. That is a gross exaggeration. Noble is far too large an organization to be affected by the contributions of any single individual. Suppose you're right. No one person can change Noble's fortunes overnight. I mean, David kind of did a few times. Except for David Asher, of course. See? But he was once in a generation talent. The guy Noble chose for the advertisements and the one they commissioned editorials about. So you're right. I shouldn't have equated the two of you. I just hope his one-point doctrine doesn't fall out of favor now that he's gone. Yes, well, we certainly wouldn't want that. Well, she didn't exactly explode of rage, but she definitely reacted. There's real jealousy there, whether it ever boiled over, though. Oh! Did we ask about Sarah before we go on? Let's not ask about Sarah. I mean... Yeah... I feel like bringing her up is just... I don't know. I didn't mean it's probably about your relationship with David or lack thereof. I suppose I'm just curious about his standing inside Noble as a whole. David Asher was, and always will be, an outstanding contribution to the company's forward progress. Nothing will ever change that. Not even if he was killed by one of his own creations. Yeah, she isn't relevant to this exact, we're talking about David. That would, of course, be a tragic element that would call for reconsideration of his legacy. She was almost off guard there. Like she was surprised for me to be asking about Sarah ruining his reputation. Like, yeah, we're gonna press if the game indicates that there's more, I'm gonna press. Did David ever anger the board? Oh, absolutely. Besides Sarah, David's reputation was crystal clean. He never went against the company once. Did he? Unless I'm mistaken and he and Noble were on bad terms. In that case, I might get the impression that some parts of leadership were actually glad to see him taken off the chessboard. That is not something buzzing in your ear. Fine, I suppose it makes no difference if you hear it now or at the trial or on your feed tomorrow. Dr. David Asher was being sued by the company for breach of contract. Satisfied? Now we're talking. That's something we could go off of. That is huge. Well, and I suppose that's an ace up my sleeve or something, I guess now? I don't know, blackjack. Yeah. Sorry, are those sequences called blackjack again? I forgot. So you couldn't have mentioned this breach of contract earlier? Not without complicating the company's position unnecessarily, no. But there's no hiding at this point. It'll all come out soon enough. Much more than that. We'd been making moves to let him go for some time. Noble Electronics parts ways with David Asher. Must have been one hell of a breach of contract. What did he do? He betrayed the confidence of the board. Was he contesting the suit, putting up a fight? Engaging in legal battle against a mega corporation without even telling me? Until recently, yes. You mean until he died? How recently? We spoke on Friday. That was what you two talked about in his parlor? No, this was earlier in the day. We were in this room, actually. Him, me, and several members of our legal department. It was an arbitration. And did you come to an agreement? A compromise. He would resign from his position in 2 quarters, foregoing royalties on any products we would develop after the next 24 months. In exchange, he wouldn't be publicly fired, and he would still be credited on all past, present, and future filings. How very reasonable. On paper, maybe. No matter what the deal was, letting go of David Asher is insanity. Reasonable, yes, we ended on a good note, I'd like to think. We shook hands, even took a photo. Okay. Yeah, that looks... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 people from legal? Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. Lovely. Something funny? Didn't know the board told jokes. They don't. That was legal, expressing their displeasure with how much paperwork my good note ending left them stuck with. Children. It's just one night of overtime. So while they were spending their Friday night blowing the ink dry, you paid to visit David's penthouse, something left unfinished. Professionally, it was a good meeting. There was no yelling, no finger pointing. Much cleaner than expected, but David Asher did not want to retire. He didn't want to be forced out of the company when he was when he had contributed so much. I didn't enjoy doing this to him, so I came over that night to apologize to him. We talked, reminisced. When he brought out the drinks, I thought we'd be toasting to a new day. A few minutes later, he was dead. Because of that AI. That AI. Any idea how it came to be? As I said, I had no idea he was working on it. My question was more broad than that. If you really believe David built an AI, how do you think he did it? How does Noble Electronics think he managed to work around the tenets? It's quite beyond my area of expertise, and no one at the company could call himself an expert in illegal technologies. But some in the R&D department have theorized that he created what they call a wax-wane decaying priority loop, which, as I understand, is an unstable resource-intensive theoretical method for pseudo-randomizing the weight amongst preset tenets. Well, about as far off target as it gets with that guess. That kind of inelegant brute force nonsense seems a far cry from the kind of thing David would create, and I seem to have taken us over our allotted time slot, but I didn't even get to wave goodbye. You're serious about this trial, don't I look it? You're not just making a play, you're actually going to defend that thing. I'm just defending myself, Miss Young. Oh yes, of course you are, my mistake. I hoped you might be rooting for me to tell you the truth. Might yet save everyone's stock options. Stock options will be alright either way. I mean, yeah, the company's gonna be alright either way, unfortunately. They always are. That gamble I offered, your board, which outcome would you bet on? Finally, an easy question. What would I bet is that whatever the outcome, the company will eat it up and shit it out with very little difficulty. You painted an ugly picture back there, but I've already seen the future, and it's just another marketing gimmick. The great David Asher, too smart, too bold, too far ahead of his time. What spark of his genius remains buried in the inspired Animate 19? I guess that depends on... You are exactly right. He is more valuable to Noble as a dead man. Dead men can't step out of line or put their foot in their mouth or hold politically inconvenient opinions. So the breach of contract was a politically inconvenient opinion. Okay. To a good salesperson, a dead man is just another selling point. Pardon my outburst. I'm just tired. It's been a very long week for me. I'll let you prepare for your afternoon then, Dr. Young. No one calls me doctor. I ask them not to. You didn't want the title? At times I have thought very little of it, the PhD I earned from a Nobel-owned school. Biochemistry. Couldn't have been a large department at Noble because they started work on warm androids in earnest. They probably didn't have many expectations for the program back when she was part of it. But I was proud of it when I first got it. Something change? It never seemed to catch on. People didn't use it, so eventually I told people not to use it. Very high IQ social power play, you understand? Oh, I've been there, girl. You tried to take charge of the narrative, and that's what you're saying, but, also, girl, pride in yourself. David never insisted that people use it either. It's very different, and I think you know it. David Asher didn't have to. Yeah, they still just called him Doctor anyway. 2:50 p.m. Alright. I'm stopping here. Unfortunately, where's the save? I forgot how to... There. No. Save. Once right. Yes. Alright, we're saving here. Stopping. Because I have to get off. And we're done for the day. I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah, good night, everyone. It's been great. We made progress, but we did not complete episode 1 again. We're never... Feels like this... It feels like we take way too long on these. Do we have anyone to drop you off with? We do not. Everyone else finished already and came to me. Posture check. Okay. No water. But yeah,
Good night, VGA. Good night, Morg. Good night, everyone else who came to join me today. Thank you, and I hope to see you again. So if you saw the schedule is there and the schedule's down, follow, subscribe, join the Discord, whatever. We will be back on Wednesday for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and Friday for Evil Land 2. Technically, this week we have 2 opportunities for collabs with uh with a few couple people, but I don't know if I'll be able to do them. But there might be a bonus stream this week with people. I don't know yet, but I'm giving you a heads up because even if I'm not a part of it, I know Hazel, Nixie, Zoe, all of them, Guy Gorby, Frost. They will be streaming Big Walk on Thursday. I do not know if I will be able to make it to that yet, but check them out. Hey, All right. But yeah, it's time to say goodnight.